Good morning and welcome to the AM show. From all over the world and across all digital platforms, you're listening to me, Sweetie Abochi. And I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. Welcome to the most informative, educative, and analytical breakfast show on the block. This morning, we'll start by serving you the AM news, the first news bulletin on this channel. And then we'll get into our news review segment where we review stories captured in the newspapers. And to help us do that today, Dr. Sharif Ahmed Khalid, who's Associate Professor of Accounting and Finance, as well as lawyer Enoch Afuakwa, NPP Communications team member, will be joining us to review those news stories captured in the papers. And then Haruda Mubarak will bring you AM Sports, the latest updates in the world of sports. And then our big stories will begin. This morning, being a Thursday, we're bringing you AM exclusive, and we'll enter the pharmaceutical industry and talk to a doyen who navigated a checkered path and has come out unscathed in the midst of a prolonged legal battle. On AM exclusive this morning, we'll bring you an intriguing conversation with Elder Dr. Samuel Tobin, Chairman of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Limited, on a wide range of issues within the pharmaceutical industry. And you don't want to miss that conversation with Benjamin Akakpo. And in 3 days, the NPP will launch its 2024 manifesto in Takoradi in the Western region. This is coming days after the NDC launched its youth manifesto with some freebies for level 100 students, university students. So what really are we likely to hear from the NPP? And in fact, what should be in it for you and I? We will seek answers this morning on the show, as well as other conversations coming your way on this cocktail, I like to call it, because it's a plethora of conversations coming your way. And you're invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts on social media at Joy News on TV, as well as when we open the phone lines for you this morning. You can call in and share your thoughts with us. We call it Have Your Say. Welcome aboard the AM show. Let's start now with the AM news. This is the AM News with me, Sweetie Abochi. Let's get into the details. The national chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has declared that the party will not be signing any peace declaration as the country approaches the upcoming election. Speaking on PM Express Wednesday evening yesterday, he expressed skepticism about the effectiveness of such agreements, citing past experiences. He further criticized the focus on signing peace agreements after tensions have already escalated, urging authorities to address the root causes of potential violence before it spirals out of control.
Declaration don't mean anything to us.
A peace declaration? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything to you?
It doesn't mean anything to us because all previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. If you allow violence to be brewed, you have violence, whether you sign declaration or not. And so that is why, for more than a year ago, I started talking about the need for us to remove the building blocks for violent elections. So at any stage, when something is happening, I call on those who in future will call us to sign declarations, to speak up so that we stop this particular thing from happening. Otherwise, if you allow all those things to build up, and you say that, let us go and play peace football match, let us sign declaration, let us do this with the hope that we will get a peaceful election will not happen. Because we did all this in 2020. All this and more in 2020. Council of State, Peace Council, everybody was involved, signing declarations left, right, center. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the whole of the Fourth Republic.
So this year, not signing.
So it tells you that signing or no signing is not the issue.
And project lead for the See Something, Say Something campaign from the Ministry of National Security, Asiedu Nketia, has urged Ghanaians, especially those living closer to the borders, to devour information to the security agencies to help ward off extremists and their elements from the country. She noted that security is a shared responsibility and urged the people to work to complement the efforts of the government to maintain the peace in the country. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Winchell.
According to the team lead of the campaign for See Something, Say Something from the Ministry of National Security, Asiedu Nketia, the latest visit embarked to the 5 northern regions is part of a mop-up exercise aimed at sensitizing the public on the need to be security conscious and report suspicious activities if they see any. It is a sequel to the campaign held between February and May this year.
Is, on the back of happenings in the sub-region, particularly countries that we share borders with, i.e. Togo, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire. As a result of these happenings in these countries, we have an influx of, people coming in to seek refuge. We can look at some of these people and determine their motive. In as much as we have genuine people coming to seek refuge, the thinking is that we may have some bad guys join the bandwagon to come in, and if care is not taken, they might, identify our vulnerabilities and take advantage of same and probably strike at our blind side.
The team made visits to several communities in the Upper West region. In the West district, they took the campaign to Ponyentanga Kongulumu, Meteo and Wochao, where they sensitize and educate the people on the need to be vigilant and report suspicious characters in their midst to the appropriate security agencies. The first phase of the project has struck remarkable success and urge the people to volunteer information in order to ward off extremists and their elements from the country.
As we all know, you usually will not find national security staff members in the open engaging. Operations are such that it's usually covert. But because of how crime, as far as terrorist activities, have evolved over time, there has been the need for us to also, change our ways. Reason now we come into the communities to engage with the people, for them to know that security is a shared responsibility. Whilst government is doing its bit, the traditional way of security that we all know, we as citizens also have a role to play.
The residents of the 3 communities, whilst commending the national security for the sensitization, there are some concerns.
The program tells us how we should be each other's keeper. The program tells us at what time we should report, we should call the 99. The program tells us to always will be watchful for those people who come, strangers, people may come to the community and be hovering around. There could be spies. So when we see any strange thing going on, we should report that to the appropriate agencies.
So then they to come at the right time. You won't see them. By the time they will freeze everything and move away, they see them coming. Then if I have the information, call you, within some 2-3 minutes we used to come and solve the case, and I call you will not come. You will be there till whatever they have been doing, they freeze it before you then come.
Upper West Regional Security Liaison Officer Ben Suri has this response.
They have to mobilize and come. They can't also just come with empty hands. They have to mobilize and come. You get the point? The armed robbers will not spare the police themselves. So before, they must adequately prepare and come. You see? And also remember that these armed robbers is always a snap operation. They know that you place calls. And so they do it very quickly. Before they get here, they have disappeared. So if because of that you will not volunteer information, I don't think it will help all of us.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Wochao.
From Winchell, let's do some NCC stories. And the National Commission for Civic Education has urged the media to protect the country's democracy by preventing the spread of hate speech and misinformation as the December 7 polls approach. Now, speaking at the inaugural Civic Festival, Chairperson Kathleen Adi expressed concern that some media outlets are promoting misinformation which could create tensions and lead to chaos. She believes educating the country's youth on their civic duties is rather the way to go. There's more in this report.
As the 2024 elections near, public awareness about combating misinformation is crucial. The National Commission for Civic Education and the European Union have teamed up to empower young voters in combating the menace. At the launch of the Youth in Democracy initiative, chairperson of the commission, Kathleen Addy, stressed the need to avoid spreading false information, which could incite chaos.
The thing with misinformation and fake news and all of those things is that it starts and stops with us. It starts and stops with us. When something falls in your inbox or you see something on your timeline that you know is probably false, that you can see is deliberately put there to cause chaos, to cause people to be angry, to incite others to violence and misbehavior. When you see those things, let it end with you. Don't also go ahead and forward it. If all of us commit to that action alone, the misinformation and fake news problem will go down significantly.
She also noted that reintroducing inter-party committees will help resolve political misunderstandings at the district level before they escalate.
We have activated our inter-party dialogue committees. These committees are committees that have representation from the political parties, from the faith-based institutions, traditional authorities, they have the security personnel amongst them. And basically what they do at the district level, at the lowest level of governance, which is districts, is to ensure that whatever political misunderstandings that arise in that district, that committee will sit and try and resolve the problem before it escalates and becomes a major problem where we now have to expend state resources to calm some fire. So we have activated those. We have held several dialogues, public dialogues, around the thematic areas that I referred to earlier. We are also, as you can see, doing activities with young people. We are engaging the political party youth activists. We are engaging in-school youth.
Students from the Accra Girls Senior High School emphasized the need for the government to increase public awareness about religious intolerance and negative election practices to ensure a peaceful election.
I think we should use adequate public awareness tools that will educate the public on the importance of sustaining good electoral system and procedures. So we educate people to take to heart Ghana and then be together, be honest to each other, and then just make sure that we watch toward the betterness of Ghana and then ensure that there's no violence.
So we as citizens, we should stand firm. We should be assertive. I mean, we should be able to say no to such an occasion or event. I mean, if we know that we are patriotic or democratic, when they are bringing us the money, when they are offering the money, we should be able to say no. They're supposed to be democratic. So we wouldn't take this money. We would vote for whoever deserves it.
The basic thing that the government should do is public education. There is public education, but the government should intensify public education, more especially with the youth. The government should sensitize them enough that they should value peace over religious sentiments.
Stakeholders are urging political actors to desist from spreading misinformation in order to maintain the peace of the country. Stephen Mentor's report, read to you.
A group called the Northern Regional Chapter of the United Voices for Change has expressed disappointment at President Akufo-Addo following revelations by the Fourth Estate that the president cut short for the Damongo, Yendi and Tamale water project without security funding for these projects. The group said a documentary aired by the Fourth Estate said there was no funds for the water project, even though the president had announced work will begin on the 3 projects. Addressing a press conference in Tamale, the group condemned the president for wasting state resources to cut short for the project he knew was not real.
The press conference was to highlight what the group described as the falsehood and the waste of state resources exhibited by the president at the short-cutting of these projects. Speaking at a press conference in Tamale, Secretary of the group, Professor Sylvester Ronald Entry, called on the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, to publicly apologize to the overlords of Dagbon and Yagbon and their people for what he described as deception.
So this 3 water supply project amounted to $302 million, which today, if I want to be charitable to Mr. President, by using 10 cedi to convert $302 million, it means Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo have taken over 3 billion Ghana cedis in the name of the people of Northern Region and Savannah Region to solve your water issue. 3 billion. Where is the money? The chiefs and people of Northern Region and Savannah Region willingly released lands. Here, let me speak my language. Released lands and provided all the necessary support needed for the smooth start and completion of this project. This is why we find it totally shocking and more than embarrassing and utterly disappointing that the Fourth Estate is now reporting that the government has not secured any funding for any of the projects. In the documentary, the managing director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Dr. Clifford Brimer, admitted the government has secured no funding for the project during the time of the by-heart sword cutting by Mr. President. In fact, according to him, the government was yet to secure funds. The government was yet to secure funds for the project. 4 years on, he attempted to blame the DDEP, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, which started in 2023. Our 74-year-old aged king or president knew very well that there wasn't even 1 cedi ready for the project. You have scammed the people of Northern and Savannah region. Nana, you have scammed the good people of Tamale. Ultimately, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has to publicly apologize unreservedly to the Dagonria, to the other chiefs, to the people of Tamale, to the people of Yendi, to the people of Damango, and to the entire country for forgiveness from the good people of Tamale. We want to urge all politicians to be truthful. We don't want a repetition of what we have suffered under this administration.
In other stories, Land and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Jinapor has dismissed allegations of state capture by government officials and described same as misinformation. The minister has also outlined measures being instituted by government to protect public lands. He said this when he took his turn at the Meet the Press session on Wednesday morning.
Today, unlike most of our compatriots on the continent, lands in our country are largely owned by these tools, kings, clans, and families. Over the years, however, governments have acquired some of these lands either by purchase, lease, gift, compulsory acquisition, vesting, or through some other modes. These are the lands referred to as the public lands of Ghana, which government has direct control over. Just as governments have been acquiring lands since the inception of our republic, every government, without exception, has granted some of these public lands to private entities for various developmental purposes. Unfortunately, some people have packaged some of these lands, which were granted to private developers decades ago, and presented them as evidence of what they have termed, quote, state capture, end quote. The ministry has had to issue press statements to correct some of these misinformation.
Contrary to claims by critics about the sale of parts of the Achimota forest, Samuel Jinapor says his ministry has rather intervened to protect the forest.
We set up a team. We went into negotiations with Achimota forest because we were concerned about the ecological integrity of the forest, and we wanted a buffer. We wanted a buffer between what the Achimota forest, the old family will have, and what will now constitute today's Achimota forest. And we were able to negotiate a reduction of 100 acres out of the 362 acres which had been cast in iron by previous governments, and the current administration had been bound legally by previous governments for the release of 362 acres of the Achimota forest.
The Forestry Commission has called on individuals engaged in illegal activities within forest reserves to cease immediately, as a rapid response team has been deployed to clear these areas of all illegalities. The Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, John Alote, says the Commission is reviewing its reforestation plan to ensure a comprehensive reforestation and reclamation plan. Speaking at a meeting preceding the signing of an MOU with Asante Gold Chirano Mines, John Alote indicated that the Commission is working hard to ensure environmental impacts are mitigated and afforestation efforts are enhanced. There's more in this report.
According to the Forestry Commission, a rapid response team has been deployed in the forest reserves across the country to ward off all those operating illegally in them. Speaking at the meeting with the Asante Gold Chirano Mines, CEO of the Forestry Commission, John Alote, encouraged mining companies to design an afforestation and reclamation plan to restore the forest. He also called on the companies to engage more of the youth in the operations by supporting them.
The expectation is that they would be reforesting 3 times what they impact on. So the reforestation plan is being developed with a joint team from the Forestry Commission and then the Asante Gold Chirano. We also pray that the district assemblies in that area will be involved in these activities to make sure that any potential impact is reduced, and also we carry out this reforestation as also a means of providing alternate livelihood for the people who are in that area. Fortunately, we have key paramount chiefs in that area, and I'm sure the engagements have been very fruitful. What the Forestry Commission is calling for is that those who are working illegally in the forest reserves in terms of mining should cease. We have our rapid response team going around to make sure the forest is cleared of all these illegalities. We are also encouraging them to engage more of the youth. Some of them can be engaged and trained to be able to support the enterprise in which they are. That is the only way we will be, improving upon the economies in the areas that they operate.
General Manager of the Asante Gold Chirano Mines, Stephen Asante Yeboah, laid out some of the interventions his outfit has rolled out and is still rolling out to support the youth in the area.
We are working on a document to strengthen this relationship we've had over the years so that we can improve on what we are doing. Currently, we employ about 2,200 people, and out of this, 55% of them are from the Safi area, and almost all of us are Ghanaians. And I'm proud to be a general manager of a mine which are made of Ghanaians. In fact, all the senior management are Ghanaians. We have some few expatriates who are helping us with some technical areas, especially underground drilling. But the vast majority of the workforce are Ghanaians, and I'm proud to say that 55% are from the Safi area. We have policies and programs in place to just make sure that we provide support and opportunity for the local communities in particular, and make sure that we impact greatly on the nation at large.
The two entities are hopeful that an MOU would be signed in their subsequent meeting to ensure that the environmental impacts in the forest are reduced.
Moving on, a not-for-profit, Kimathi Kwenyehia Grants for People with Disabilities has extended its support to 51 students with special needs at the University of Ghana. The event was geared towards the grant's ongoing mission to alleviate financial barriers for students with disabilities. Speaking to Joy News, a consultant from Kimathi and Partners, corporate attorneys Doji Koku Hato, emphasized the importance of prioritizing students with disabilities. Here's more.
Established in 2016, The Kimathi Kwenyenya grant for people with disabilities was initially designed to aid first-year students with visual impairments by easing the financial burden of educational materials. However, recognizing the broader needs of the disabled student community, the grant was later expanded to support all first-year students with disabilities. This inclusive approach ensures that these students can acquire essential educational resources without financial constraints, thereby equipping them to pursue their academic goals more effectively. Speaking to Joy News after the event, a consultant from Kimathi and Partners Corporate Attorneys, Doji Kuko.
Initially, we started with only the visually impaired individuals, and now we have expanded it to persons with disabilities. So we are gradually enrolling the whole process, and as time goes on, we review it and see how best we could expand it to other universities. Yeah. The firm believes that we want to know people by their name and their abilities, not their disabilities. So it's a main reason why we partner with the University of Ghana to help these persons, as I say, with names, that they are capable in doing so many things. We just they need that support that we are there to give. So maybe we want to encourage everyone listening to us to come and support.
Doji Kwaku Hato stressed the need to prioritize students with disabilities. University of Ghana's Dean of Student Affairs and Acting Coordinator of University of Ghana Center for Disability.
We appreciate Kimathi for the help they are giving our disabled students, and we appeal to the general public to help in whatever way they can, in cash, in kind, if they need to. We have one vehicle. If a company wants to donate another vehicle to us, because that one vehicle serves all the visually impaired and the physically. There are some who have to be aided, and so we have a vehicle that transports them from the hall to the lecture theaters and back. And so if we have companies that are willing to donate vehicles to us, we'll be very happy. Buses, for instance, wheelchairs, white sticks, and all that, yes.
For stories in our business update segments, government has been challenged to do more in reducing food and non-food inflation, despite a decrease in the overall inflation rate for the month of July to 20.9%. According to economist Professor Patrick Asumin, although the sharp drop is welcoming, there is still more that needs to be done to stimulate private sector growth. His comments follows the decrease in food inflation, non-food inflation, and imported items, pushing the overall inflation for the month of July to drop sharply to 20.9%.
So when you look at the more disaggregated numbers, you begin to see housing, utilities, the prices have inched up a little bit. And then the fact that inflation of domestically produced items are still higher. All of those hints at rising cost of production. And in spite of the fact that we say food prices, there's been a much bigger reduction in food inflation, there are some big ticket items that have seen actually, whose prices are still quite high. In fact, if you look at items like cereals and cereal products, if you look at items like vegetables, plantain, these are big staples. Even though they saw some reduction, you see, some of our staples are still having inflation rate of around over 41%. This is quite high. So you hope that as we've entering the harvesting season, things will come down a little bit. But overall, there's clear, there's a hint that domestic cost of production is rising. You see inflation on transport, even though it's reduced marginally, it's still way higher than where we were 4 months ago or so. So those are still areas that demands a lot of attention.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has been giving details on amount of money printed in 2022 and 2023. It is coming on the back of reports that more than 70 billion Ghana cedis was pumped into the economy, resulting in inflation hitting those levels. But speaking at the Parliament Accounts Committee, the First Deputy Governor, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afare, first sought to clarify what influenced the printing and the amounts they had put out.
Central Bank has a model that we use in determining how much money is printed at any point in time. And the model looks at key ingredients. One of them is the nominal GDP growth for the year. Another one is the cocoa purchase forecast that has been made for the year, because the cocoa is bought mainly with cash. And then other factors come in. And those factors go in, and then we also have a clean note policy. So the existing notes that are in the system, those that do not meet the clean note policy do not come back into the system. And I think at a point I was here some time back, and I invited the committee to see our currency processing system to understand the cleanliness and the importance of the currency processing system. So if they do not come back into the system, combining that with the forecast determines how much new money should come into the system to ensure that we meet the degree of exchangeability that's required for us to be able to transact business in the country. And that determines how much money is printed at any point in time. 688 million Ghana cedis, and in 2022 was what? 336, yes. 336 million Ghana cedis in 2022 and 688 million Ghana cedis in 2023.
Let's go for our currency market update now. So this ends it for the AM News, the first part of the AM show. You want to stay with us because News Review comes up next. And Dr. Sharif Ahmed Khalid, he's Associate Professor of Accounting and Finance, as well as Enoch Afuakwa Esquire, NPP Communications Team member, joining us for the News Review segment. We'll be right back. Many thanks for your time, for joining us on the News Review segment right here on the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi. In a bit, I'll introduce my guest to you, but a gentle reminder, as always, that this segment is brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And they're offering free prostate screening and free fertility screening for the women at their various locations. Here in Accra, you can find them on the Spintex Road, opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronoma Buenya, behind the Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, Anaji Estate. In Tema, Community 22. In Techiman, Hanswa, in Esiama, in Zima. And you can call them on 0244-876-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. This morning, we've been joined by a lawyer and a professor from the camps of NDC and NPP to help us review the various stories captured in the newspapers. I have with me Dr. Sharif Ahmed Khalid, Associate Professor of Accounting and Finance, and lawyer Enoch Afuakwa from the NPP Communications Team. Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
How are we feeling?
We are feeling better.
Good? Prof.
Afuakwa is branding a green kaftan
in
solidarity of the manifesto, the youth manifesto the NDC launched a few days back. Thank you, Afuakwa.
Oh, it's going to be a good morning this morning. Have you met like this before on a common platform like this?
Yeah, on TV3.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right. So let's...
And we started together. Yeah. We
oh, okay. So, yeah. I mean, you're familiar with each other. Okay. Let's get into your thoughts. I'll start with you, Prof. I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? And
We've been on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and as you see, this morning we would be running mates. The erudite Professor Nana Jane Opoko-Agyemang would be on the campaign trail in the key markets within Accra. So, Kaneshi Market, Makola Market, and the Malanata Market, to engage with market women and to actually outdoor the policy of the Women Development Bank, the 24-hour economy, and among key other salvaging policies that the NDC has in store for the good people of Ghana.
Okay. Enoch.
Sweetie.
What's on your mind?
When I say sweetie, it sounds of something, so let me say Abuchi.
No, it's my name. I'm Sweetie. Everybody knows it's my name.
And so probably the people who don't know you are Sweetie may say that, hey, why is a gentleman calling Sweetie on your show?
It's fine. Whichever makes you comfortable.
That's fine. Yeah. Let me say a very good morning to yourself and to Dr. Khalid, and extend the greetings of His Excellency the President and that of the incoming President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to the good people of this country through your platform. He's really praying for the good people of this country to be in full hope that his presidency will deliver the needed glory for the people of this country, as the current administration has started the foundation in pushing Ghana into the fourth industrial revolution. So certainly, we know that the good people of this country will confirm the presidency of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because he is the one that possesses the superior policies that will transform this country into a better place and move us into the fourth industrial revolution. All
right. Be that as it may, let's get into the newspapers. I'll start from the Daily Graphic. On the front page, I'll build a prosperous nation. That is according to Alan Shomanting. Present circumstances must influence your votes. Togbi saying that over there. Inflation eases to 20.9% in July. Food inflation also declines sharply. Public lands secure. We brought you that story in a news bulletin earlier about the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources saying that, contrary to allegations that they're trying to capture state lands, they're rather trying to secure them for investment and other development projects. And we'll get into that story a bit. GJ is 75 years old today. Congratulations. Quantum New Gas committed to cylinder recirculation model. Let me start from the story on page 3 about public lands being secure. The government has been acquiring new lands to supplement public lands for the development needs of the country. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, who disclosed this yesterday, it was a press meeting at the Information Ministry, said the government had also put in place measures to protect existing public lands. And Mr. Jinapo, who was addressing the public on the state of public lands, mentioned the acquisitions include 13,230 acre land at Afienya, Dowenya for an industrial enclave and urban development, and 509 acre land between Afienya and New Akrade for railway development. And then there's a 237 acre land in Tamale for the University of Development Studies. First story. Let me do 3 stories before I come to you, gentlemen, and then we can have a conversation. And then I'll get into what Alan Shomanting is saying on page 13. They're saying he will build a prosperous nation. The founder and leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Kojo Shomanting, has said his vision is to build a prosperous, united, and peaceful country that provides equal opportunities for all, particularly the youth, women, and vulnerable groups, to realize their full potential and improve their livelihoods. Mr. Shomanting, who intends to contest the December 7 election as an independent presidential candidate, also urged the electorate to break the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress duopoly. He's also launched that great transformational plan, which is his manifesto on what he intends to do differently for the country if he's voted into power. Mahama tours the Volta region. He says present circumstances must influence your vote. That is according to Togbi Apede. In politics, no need for vice president to step down, according to some experts. And I see the photo of Dr. John Osai Kwapon there. It's an editorial. NDC launches manifesto on August 24th in the Central region. Let me see what's happening on the back page. I want one major story and then we can go. Talogana hands over 180-bed dormitory to Methodist Senior High School. See something, say something campaign intensified in the Upper East region. And there's an open letter to the IGP here, fake news, police arrest, and related matters. Let me read just excerpts of that. We met at the Ghana report. Okay, this is a long read. I can't just take excerpts from that. But gentlemen, two questions on my mind. Do both of you consider Alan Chamanting a formidable force that could tip the scales in this election? Because he's been actually saying a lot. And I'll take your reactions on what Abu Jinapo has been saying on the public lands being secure, contrary to what the narrative has been, that they're rather capturing state lands. I'll start with you, Prof.
Right. That's quite a very misleading headline, as far as I'm concerned, and tying it to the content. And again, you'd see a very hatchet job that has been done. And these days, I get very disappointed in the Daily Graphic. I think that his editor ought to be careful in how he's driving the editorial content and direction of this paper, because that's very important. It spans decades, and you just don't want to use some form of political expediency for whatever reason it is to mislead the public on some key issues like that. When you started to read and say public land secured, that's a screaming headline. As though the public lands...
That's what he said.
As though the public lands... Yeah, I'm coming to this. As though the public lands in cantonments, the public lands in prime Accra is the one we're talking about here. But you start to read and you're mentioning Dowenya and other places that are periphery of Accra. How is that reflective of public lands being secured? But we are talking about the purchases that has been made in the last couple of years to cronies, which is evident for all to see. The last debacle we saw was the attempt to annex a chain of hotels by a sitting minister. So how is this headline any reflective of what its content is? So this is a shame, actually, when we begin to do some of these things. But I know I do understand it's an election year. Then again, you come to where you'd see a string of a hatchet job being done is that you pick the Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, which we all know where it's coming from, and it holds the same headline. Your listeners could see that. It's a public land secured. So it means that this is actually, a sort of media project that has been put in place to run amok for the rest of the week to say it. And it's so poor a job to have come from a national daily such as the Daily Graphic. And for me, I'll continue to say this until the editor sits up with the team to really do a good thing about this. All tabloid press that has their affiliations or leanings to other political parties can do what they're doing. But our national daily, the Daily Graphic, shouldn't be doing that. That's the people's paper. And I think that they ought to refrain from actually misleading the public and trying to do the bidding of a sitting government or a said name political party. As you agree with me as a journalist and a professional, the content does not sync with the headline. And that is unfortunate. So public lands are not secured. They are rather even acquiring more. They are rather even acquiring more.
For development.
For development. So how does that reflect?
Railways,
yeah, so how is that anything to do with public lands secured and safe?
According to what I'm reading here, they're saying that contrary to the allegations, they're rather securing more lands to propel their development.
So how does that what happens to the existing?
So they secured the lands rather than...
The concerns of Ghanaians is what is happening to prime existing lands.
Okay.
Not the acquisition of new lands within
Fortunately
peripheral
we have
for development.
a member of their communications team here. So,
I believe Dr. Khalid is trying to just turn the story around.
The story speaks for itself.
No, the story doesn't speak for itself. Months ago, the NDC started an agenda to smear the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration in a mantra called state capture. And in their assertion that the NPP is appropriating state lands to its cronies, assigns, and privates. And the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources yesterday met the press. And I wonder why you were not there. And he put forth the bare facts as far as the so-called lands.
I just wanted to put something in context. You said propaganda called state capture.
Yes.
And I just wanted to chip in this quickly. The meaning of state capture is a type of systemic corruption.
Oh, so you
whereby I just want to put it in context and then ask a follow-up question on why you say it is propaganda.
I'm not even done with my initial submission.
That's why I said chip in.
You just cut in and decide to read something to me.
Yes, I just said chip in, right?
Continue.
Good. So
our viewers are just continue.
State capture is a type of systemic corruption whereby narrow interest groups take control of the institutions and processes through which let's leave it there. Take control of institutions and processes that are supposed to be owned by the state.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So certainly, You remember Okujeto Ablakwa started a journey. And the journey was to smear the Akufo-Addo administration with an allegation that assigned agents and privy of this government are appropriating to themselves vested lands that the president is entrusted by the constitution, the laws of the republic, to manage for and on behalf of the people of this country. He mentioned that even the judicial service bungalows and their lands have been sold to private developers. Parks and gardens lands have been sold to private developers, and there are a couple of others. And yesterday, what the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the sector minister in charge of lands, sought to put out was the bare facts, the records, to the good people of this country as far as the so-called allegation, the seemingly state capture allegation that was smeared on the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is concerned. And for the purpose of your viewers, let us clarify some of these positions. In 2015, 13th July 2015, the government of Ghana then, with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, headed by Minister Honorable Neo Samuels, sold these state bungalows belonging to the Judicial Service to Frames Oil Limited and executed the leads here to the said developer, Frames Oil. But under these circumstances, it was stated as if this property was leased onto Frames Oil by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. Secondly, on the Parks and Gardens lands, it was Mr. Evisefi Yankra who wrote a letter to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources then, asking that the minister releases 2 acres of land belonging to Parks and Gardens for it to be sold, so that the proceeds of those sales will be used to build a new office complex, supply them with the needed equipment and logistics that they need, and their rates. And as of today, Parks and Gardens don't have a new office. Parks and Gardens do not have the water tankers that was promised them. They do not have the tractors that this sale, the proceeds of this sale were to be used in procuring these tractors and these hand tools that will be used in performing their duties as far as their holding as an agency of the state is concerned. So we ask Honorable Evisefi Yankra then, the Minister for Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development in 2012-2013, that where is the money realized from the sale of the 2 acres of the Parks and Gardens land at Cantonment.
Your point is that you are supporting what the minister is saying. The lands have not been captured.
Absolutely.
Like
as has been churned out. Okay, and on the Achimota forest lands and the like, the minister sought to put out the bare fact.
That's his point.
The minister sought to put out. And even the minister added, I'm coming when you talk about. The minister added, look, let me land here. Let me land here. The minister added that the state is even buying more lands in addition to aid or augment our developmental needs. And as you rightly put out, over 13,000 acres of land have been purchased in Afienya.
I didn't put, I read it.
Yes, you read it. So certainly you put it out.
I just wanted to show that.
Certainly you read it out. Over 13,000, over 257 acres in Tamale for the University for Development Studies. Over 500 acres around Afienya for the Ghana Railway Development Corporation and the likes. And certainly, one government is protecting the land, and government is buying more land. Where lies the assumption? Where lies the presumption that the government is appropriating state lands and vested lands for itself?
But that's a very important point that we need to make here. And the evidence screams at all of us. I'm not going to sit here and rattle from a hymn book of what is what and what is not. Sir John, who passed away recently, may his soul rest in peace, as head of Forestry Commission, we saw what happened to forestry lands, virgin lands, sacred groves, and all of that. Willed in perpetuity to a family. They blaze. What are they doing on prime sea lands? Right? Today,
I have a question.
Today, the security services, the police, who were in the heart of the city, protecting us, has been taken to the periphery, from cantonments and airports. Right? So what are we talking about in the sale of land to cronies?
So there's 4 months to elections.
Yes.
I want us to get into as many stories as possible within the short time that we have. So please, let's move on from
so for the evidence is there for the good people of Ghana.
So we'll leave it to our discerning audience.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair in this matter. He mentioned the police. No, you see,
there's 4 months
let's be fair in our comments.
Alan Tremantin, you had your time. Let's move on from this. Alan Tremantin says he's going to build a prosperous nation. He intends to do this with 40 cabinet ministers. and so on and so forth. The question I posed was, do you see him and the other smaller, there's also, you know, Cheddar, there's small parties like the PPP and the rest. Do you see them, I mean, also on the back of the economic woes we're experiencing? The NDC and the NPP, I mean, if we are comparing, you've both had your fair share of corruption, allegations, mismanagement and all that. Do you think this time, 2024, these smaller parties have a chance or might tip the scales in terms of results from this election? What do you say?
I support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Oh, okay.
And my support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stems from his forward-thinking policies that will augment and propel our nation into the fourth industrial revolution. Come to think of it, if Dr. Bawumia is telling us that he is going to bring in the Estonian model of taxation, where like business owners, where like citizens are going to have a flat tax rate in order to enhance their planning, in order to enhance their business, in order to make them competitive, in order to make us think better as far as management of our resources are concerned, then I believe that this is the person that I need to support and support to win the election.
You don't think
again,
any power?
If Dr. Bawumia is telling us, and promising us that he's going to make sure that he harmonizes our import duties to that of the port of Lome to make the port of Ghana very competitive, I believe that he is the right man to be able to propel the future of our country. Coming from a mining community.
I understand that we are in an election year.
No, you're asking me a simple question and I'm asking. No,
yes,
I will land. No, I will land on your question. Certainly.
And we have a specific duration of time.
I am coming to your answer. Right. But I just can't jump into it. So you ask me, Enoch, how are you? Then I just mention Enoch is fine. Then I sit down and keep quiet. Something I need to make. I need to make sure. So allow me.
Use the plot in Adabraka. They give them a script. He has to stick.
Adabraka. Your office is at Adabraka. We don't have Adabraka office.
Okay, land on your point.
Certainly, coming from a mining community, Obuasi, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is promising that he is going to make sure that Ghanaians take over our natural resources, the 100% ownership, to make our nation prosperous. Creating the National Resource Bank, the Natural Resource Bank, to enhance our brothers and sisters who are into the mining sector, make sure to become competitive and be able to invest more and get the revenues and make sure this revenue stay in our country. For the government of Ghana to also get tax revenue to develop this country. Okay. I see this person as a forward-thinking person who has superior, more qualities than any of these competitors. So certainly, Prof, whether Alanche Martin, John Dramani Mahama, they will not make any impact in this election.
Because they are political parties. Do you think they will some power to tip the scales in this election?
Well, I mean, sweetie, it's only fair for me to make a quick response as to what he's raised.
And you also have just a minute.
Which is fair enough, okay. Right? I mean, to start talking about a Estonian model of taxation, I wonder where they're coming from this dimension and talking about labeling themselves economic whiskey and like that. The population of Estonia is 1.3 million. Compared to a population of 30+ million people, they're talking about flat rate taxation. Where are you coming from with this model? And how practical is this?
No, it is possible.
No, you don't get to speak now. This is his time.
So, you know, carrying examples that are not fit for purpose and bringing them lock, stock, and barrel without actually having a full appreciation of them is not what we're doing this morning. Then again, you're talking about Lome, comparing your ports to Lome. Lome is a free port, as you like it. And what you have here is adherence to what the practices of the port system in Lome. So how are you going to implement that within the short span of time?
Okay.
That said, Alanche Martin is coming from the stock of the MPP. Right. If he had anything to prove as far as his transformational policies are concerned, the engine of the economy was in his hands at the Trade Ministry. Right? Because he was the Minister of the Economy, Trade. What did he do? What legacy did he leave? Right. We left a factory that we invested so much in Commander, which was under his ministry. Right, that was possibly about 70% plus completion. That has ancillary facilities. Back in the day, under Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Commander land was prime land because of what? The sugar factory. So if a government comes in, revives it, put investments in it, all you needed to do was to get it running. And you've not been able to develop or deliver that under your tenure as trade minister, then I'm wondering what transformational policy he has to offer as far as issues are concerned.
Let's get into some other stories.
On the national developmental scale.
Okay.
So then...
So you don't think that they wield any power either?
Well, I mean, in Ashanti, I see him doing a very good job.
In Volta region, he'll be doing a very good job in Volta region.
In Ashanti region.
Certainly. That's why Mahama is crying in Volta region. That votes are dropping.
But what allegiance has Alan Chiamati got
if the
to
total
the
vote
Volta
cast,
region?
So certainly...
If the total vote cast for this year's election was, I mean, just... I'm just speaking hypothetically, was about 100 votes. And if the NDC and NPP would have shared that, whether 50-50, 60-40, I don't know, Alan Chiamati and these other parties have the power to take some of these votes from your, what you would have got.
Dr. Baumia will take the majority of the votes.
So I get that you don't want to acknowledge.
Dr. Baumia will take the majority of the votes. Certainly, Dr. Baumia is taking
the Daily Statesman says, Kolebu to receive new dialysis machine. Mahama unhappy with Volta region over NPP's growing popularity. I don't know what this headline is. Ameyao Ekumfi urges NPP to revise campaign strategy. And then there's a story about public lands here as well. Inflation for July down to... Let's actually get into the story of inflation a bit before we continue with the politics. It's on page 6 of the Daily Statesman. And it reads, inflation for the month July tumbled to 20.9%, representing a decline of 1.9 percent points from that of June, which was 22.8%. And according to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation went down to 21.5% from 24% in June 2024, while non-food inflation also fell to 20%. And the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobineni, was addressing the press, and he says that inflation on imported items also dropped from 15.6% from 17 to 5%. And he's attributing these to the stability of the cedi in July 2024, and that's where I end.
Yeah, see.
These figures, are they reflecting in the pockets of the ordinary Ghanaian?
No, I mean, I wouldn't start with the premise of them even reflecting in the pockets of Ghanaians. We're under an IMF program.
Right.
So we ought to give credit where credit is. Right. So in terms of stability or any significant program or impact of it, it's thanks to an IMF program that we are on. So
that's where the credit goes.
That's where the credit goes. I mean, evidentially, what has this government done in the last 7 years to merit any change in our statistical progress as far as inflation, currency stability is concerned? This is a government that has a central bank in a very long while posting losses. This is a government that superintended over a domestic debt exchange program.
And the finance minister says they're
no,
sorry that...
so it's not about them being sorry. So all of this...
And it was necessary in order for us to begin recovery
all of this,
based on COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war. I'm just telling you what they say.
But how many countries in the world has gone through a domestic debt exchange post-COVID? Right? Where in the bond spree market, what has Ken's reckless bond spree market spree, as we say, brought to the good people of Ghana in terms of return on investments, the whatever bonds, the Dachi bonds, and what have you? What have we to prove for it as a people? Nothing. So if these were the investments that were changing, the rates of inflation.
Can you get it on national television and calculate return on investment as far as some bonds are concerned?
Let him
what are the best factors?
I'll come to you shortly. I'll come to you shortly. Make note of your points. Please land on your points, Prof, and I'll come to you shortly.
Yeah. So I mean, and we went to the IMF with our tail in between our legs. Never in the history of this country, when they would say, oh, we are going to the IMF for the 16th time, has a country ever struggled to get, usually it's boilerplates, tick box exercises. The tranches come as and when. They come freely without any inhibitions. But under this government, what happened? We threw the market off. Speculations were heightened because they couldn't access tranches. The international community lost confidence in us, in our international market, as far as our finances are concerned. The bond market lost confidence in us. And today, all of that reflecting the economic woes we have, which is why you're asking the fundamental question of whether this is reflecting our pockets. Obviously, it can reflect in our pockets.
Yes, hold for me. Prof is saying that the credits for the drop in inflation goes to the IMF.
Yeah. And the domestic exchange program.
It is only at the NDC that speaks with boilerplate clauses. When they are speaking, you see some ingredients of party communication that because they want to come to take over the reins of government, certainly they must hit down the prospects of government and the achievements of government in all sectors to let the government look bad in the eyes of the Ghanaian people. Certainly, you cannot appropriate and reprobate at the same time. He is saying that it is as a result of the IMF program. That is why inflation is coming down and all there is. And certainly, he's coming back. The same IMF program that gave us the opportunity to also do the painful domestic debt exchange program and the external debt, debt exchanges and those things. They are alluding that to government. He was here saying that return on investment and those things, the bonds that were procured never saw the light of day because of return on investment. What are the facts for you to assess the relevance of return on investment as far as that?
So show us the evidence.
The evidence are that from 2021 coming, we have recorded trade surpluses. These are evidence enough. Certainly, in
trade surpluses tied to bond market.
Not tied to, not tied to bond surplus. Not tied to bond. You are saying, but the economy is doing well.
No,
if the government borrows
trade
to invest in the economy,
tied to bond markets. Where's the correlation?
Please let me make my let me make my.
Go on. You are on your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweetie, let me understand that inflation rose as far as 54.something%.
Who took us there?
It's as a result of COVID-19, and it's all countries in the world suffered. UK, even the Conservative Party suffered vigorously as far as this Russia-Ukraine impasse and COVID-19 were concerned. President Mahama admitted in Harvard University the ravages of COVID-19 around the world and even in Ghana and those kind of things. But when they come to Ghana, they sing a different song, as if they are not in this country, as if they are not part of the African continent. Certainly, with all that has happened...
Why are you quoting President Mahama out of context?
I'm not quoting out of context.
Let him land. You have
with all that has happened, government has been able to manage the economy well. And now, the prudent management that government put in place is showing, the signs are showing, the symptoms. It's evident to show that, yes, inflation that was at 54.something% is now around 20.9% in July. It's certainly going forward. The target of bringing inflation down to 15% by December is achievable. It's highly achievable.
So we started from 50-something, right?
54.something.
54.something%, which the same government took us there. And you're saying that it's because of Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19.
And which year were we at 54? Which year were we at 54?
Hold on. And you're saying that your target by the end of this year is 15%.
15%, yes.
Yet, the hike in food prices continues to whip us. I don't want to say the words in my head this morning. I went to Asiedu Nketia to do a follow-up on why the governments demolished the place at Old Agbogloshi Onion Market and relocated them to Asiedu Nketia. And they were practically wailing that they would buy a bag. They used to buy a bag of onion for 200, 300, at most 450 cedis. Now at Asiedu Nketia, they are buying one bag of onion for 1,600 Ghana cedis. So yes, you're telling us that it has dropped. And NDC is saying that it is because of IMF. Regardless of that, the people, where do we come in?
No, what I'm saying, apart from it being the artificial nature of it, is that you're asking a fundamental question. Why is it not reflecting in the good people?
I'm asking both of you this question.
It can't reflect because it's artificial.
It is reflecting because...
Are you saying it is reflecting?
It is reflecting. What was the price of...
I'll borrow Enoch's notes from Asylum down to help.
No. Me. What was the price of this gallon? Is it the Frito gallon or something of oil? In 2022, thereof, what was the price then? And what is the price? Certainly, it rose to about 1,500 thereof, and now currently it's around 400 or 500 cedis.
Are you serious?
I don't know. Currently, it is about.
I would definitely go out and
it is about.
Get your production.
No, it is about.
No, get your production.
Certainly, it is not as it is.
And if you can check for me,
you remember the price.
Check this. Yeah, please.
No, you remember the price of diesel. A liter of diesel rose to I think 23 cedis or 22 cedis then. Currently, what is the price per liter of diesel in our country now?
Tell us.
Even as much as it has gotten up, it is not even up to...
I like that you said even as much as it has gone up.
Yes.
Let's get into other stories.
It is not as it
what
was
the daily,
in 2022.
I'll let you do one story from the Daily Guide newspaper.
Yes, certainly. It is the government is showing, the economy is showing
one story from the
some signs of...
Well, it says that Ghana will be better under my husband. The last time she spoke that her husband was an economic whiz kid, we all saw where it ended as. Right? Head of economic management team. What has... he to reflect as being an economic whiz kid. He's now running on to be an IT guru. He's living the economic pontification, the lectures he used to. I mean, the self-acclaimed lectures at the Central University College, the artificial platform that was created for him. All the solutions have suddenly disappeared, and today he's become the driver's or whatever mate it is, driving. He's been given steers in magazines to wheel around and become a dancing whiskey as well, instead of actually pontification the real issues of the economy, the bread and butter matters that we all used to talk about. So today, if you tell us that the economy will be better under your husband, we'll swallow this with a pinch of salt, because the last time you came out labeling your husband as an economic whiskey, we also where it took us. Under his reign as head of the economic management team, which they often run away from. You touted someone in opposition as an economic whiskey. He's now head of economic management team. And you run away from it and you want to call him an IT guru. And he himself says that, oh, I was not in charge. I was only a driver's mate.
Please land there.
Yeah, so
what a concession.
Let's do your story and then you can react to that.
I can react. Okay.
Give me one story. That's the custodian newspaper.
Oh, the custodian newspaper. Mahama cries in voter over drop in votes, and with his handkerchief wailing in tears.
Oh, but if you take
that photo
is from the mills.
From the voter region.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, this is Mahama cries in voter over drop in votes, and this is a picture of President Mahama, former President
and you
Mahama.
believe that's a current picture in the voter region?
With his handkerchief.
So you believe the current picture in the voter region?
My review of it is that the NPP
don't
has
promote hatchet media jobs.
Oh,
no, don't do that.
We have 2 minutes, please.
Don't do that.
My review of this is that the voter region has seen the light of day as far as development is concerned. The Eastern Corridor Road, that President Mahama took a Ford Expedition car from Jibril Kanazuri, that never saw the light of day. President Akufo-Addo has constructed it and handed over to the people of the voter region. President Mahama has completed the Youth Resource Center in Ho for the people of the voter region. President Akufo-Addo
now weed infested.
President Akufo-Addo has constructed the biggest, the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
Make that your final words, and then I'll come
phase 2
to the
project
final bit.
has completed the phase 2 project, which houses the biggest midwifery and nursing school in West Africa. President Akufo-Addo has completed that for the voter region. President Akufo-Addo has invested massively in infrastructure development in the voter region. So President Mahama has seen the threat as far as these developments are concerned, and what the voter region will do come December 2024
we wait to see.
To appreciate the new Patriotic Party for the great achievement in infrastructure and for social services in the voter region for the people of the voter region.
With corruption and a minister superintending over a malnourished ministry such as sanitation, stashing troves of cash in her home, right? That smacks of massive corruption. And you are here talking about a Ford Expedition that was on a presidential fleet used on national security duties. Then I don't know what you're talking about. You talk about...
Show us where the presidential fleet of vehicle that is used by national security.
Well, show us. Anyone.
No, show us.
Anyone.
Because you are an academic.
Anyone.
You can't say anything without citing authority. Show us. Give us proof of where these vehicles are started.
And go,
indeed.
But anyone.
Indeed, your own brother-in-law.
Interrupt, come on.
He was interacting. No, he was interacting. Why are you not here?
But anyone with a full appreciation of gift culture and what have you, who believes that the Ford Expedition was a bribe is on you. In any case, as I say, what development? Who took UHAS? Who created the University of Allied Sciences? Who created the University for Energy in Sinyane? How many universities have you created in almost 8 years being in office?
Oh, Professor, so let's go into that.
So if we are talking about the
University of Mines and Technology in Takwa, after grant,
you initiated.
Yes, after grant.
That's me.
After grant was initiated.
Are you serious?
We're going to be seeing this passionate argument from both political parties. But before we go, please, we are done. We are done. This is the end of it. And before we go, let me send out these dedications. Happy birthday to Augustina Ferry, a.k.a. Baby Ya of Enoch's Glass Foster Junction, Fafara. Mommy, thank you so much for everything. May God bless you and grant you all your heart's desires. I love you. Let me do my dedications, gentlemen. Prof, Enoch, come on, please. Thank you. I love you from your daughter, Mariam Awojifa. Please mute them. Can you mute them, please? Great. And another one going on to Kion and Kiona. They are 2 years old. Happiest birthday to both of them. May the Lord shine his face upon them. May you grow to be beautiful and handsome in the Lord. Amen. This is from Auntie Mimi, and she says she loves you so much. Before we go, this segment is always brought to you by Endpoints Homeopathic Clinic. And they're offering free prostate screening and free fertility screening at their various locations. In Accra on the Spintex Road opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronoma Buenya behind the Angel Educational Complex. In Takrady Anaji Estate in Tema Community 22. In Techiman, Hanswa, in Esiama, in Zima. And you can call them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And I just want to say that we are citizens, and so we reach the point where we are so uncomfortable that we actually require or demand change. We'll be fed the same thing all over again. This election year, this coming December 2024, listen very attentively with a discerning mind what each party is saying and be the judge for yourself. Don't let anyone just spew or wax lyrical and convince you and tell you things that are... You have to check. Anyway, sport is coming up next.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today on AM Exclusive. Today we veer into the pharmaceutical industry, and we have a conversation coming up with a man who has been in this industry for a long while. He had an issue that has lasted over a decade, or just about a decade, now with some conclusion from the Accra High Court. But we're going to get into his story, how he got into pharmaceuticals, and what exactly this victory in court means for him. He's a known face. I might as well unveil him now. He is chairman of the Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Limited and chairman of the Tobinco Group. He's in the person of Elder Dr. Samuel Amotobin. He joins me today for a conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Chad.
On the AM show.
Thank you.
I think because the pharmaceutical end of things is crucial to this conversation, I'll start from there. But I'd like to find out, how did it all start for you? Tell us about the pharmaceutical arm to your organization and how it all started.
Pharmaceutical arm of my organization started about 23 years ago. That is when I came from Tokyo. The initial ones were, trading, hawking around with medicines. But when I came from Tokyo, we started strictly on the importation of pharmaceuticals. So this brought in the Tobinco Pharmaceuticals proper into the limelight. And so it has been in existence for a while. We started the chemical shop, which I think is known to the public. Then we came to pharmacy shops. We opened 2-3 pharmacy shops. Then we came to importation and arrived in the manufacturing. Yeah.
I see. So it's been 23 years of doing all of this.
All of this in 23 years, yes. That's after my return from Tokyo.
What would you say the impact of the Tobinco Pharmaceuticals has been in terms of Ghana, your footprint in Ghana?
In terms of Ghana, we've been a very supportive instrument so far as the pharma industry is concerned. Because we normally, before we were importing, and when I was importing, I give a lot of credit to almost all the pharmacy shops, the retail shops, the hospitals, clinics, and all the teaching hospitals. We give them credit. And this credit facility that we give them, if you go around and ask every pharmacy shop, about 85 to 90 pharmacy shops, Tobinco has been a very good instrument, a very supportive instrument to them. When we come to the industry proper, as what we import and what we bring to the public is top-notch. Because this is my own country, and this is where I come from most. So this is where, when I get sick, my parents are sick, the medicines that we take is, this is where I live.
Right.
So definitely you must get good products to the public. And this has been our impact to the Ghanaian market.
You spoke about giving credit to some entities here and there. Did that also feed into the National Health Insurance Scheme?
Yes, National Health Insurance Scheme, yes. Because we supply it to the hospitals. And it takes a bit of time before they pay us.
Right.
And you know how the National Health Insurance sometimes back. The payment were not forthcoming. But I think with recent days, it's not bad. Yes, it's not bad.
Just a quick thought, because I was told in recent times that under the erstwhile administration, the John Dramani Mahama administration, some pharmaceutical companies were given some support. I don't know whether I heard $5 million or so properly, but a number of them were mentioned, and I think I heard your name. Did you benefit from any such?
Oh, yes.
And how much of an impact did it make in terms of your business?
Okay, then when what caused me to collect that facility from Exim Bank is that then I've put up this factory, and I needed some working capital.
Okay.
So that it came at the right time. Okay. It had a very good impact. And but when we get somewhere, I'll talk about how important these facilities will be for our industry, especially the young coming industry players, how important it is, so that we can advise the government if they can replicate some of these facilities to the young coming pharmaceuticals.
So those also coming up
the young
can benefit, grow the industry.
They must get some support like that, because working capital is so difficult. It's so difficult for especially these young ones going for bank loans and things. So when we get somewhere, the need be, I'll come out with this proper.
Okay, so it was 5 million that was given.
About 5 million. Yeah, but we've paid. We are almost done. We've paid. We are almost done. Yes.
Yes. So since you've broached that topic about how expensive it is to get financial support, because if you go to the banks now, we know at what rates, interest rates you're going to be paying back. What have been the challenges that you have faced in terms of your business?
The challenges in terms of my business, most of the times it has been this loan and working capital facility. Right. Working capital, that concept. It has been a very tough time for a local company to compete with the Indian and foreign companies, because like our Indian companies, Indian competitors, they have free soft loans in their countries. So for that matter, they can easily access a cheaper and a free soft loans and come and compete with us over here.
Right.
And in terms of the same market, in terms of pricing. So when they come in that aspect, then it means that this is a bit of challenge.
And they may even have economies of scale, because they produce on a mass level.
Yes.
Do you feel that is unfair?
What is that?
So, for example, the Indians coming. We know that the pharmaceutical market globally, Indians are big in that space.
Yes.
But especially in a place like Ghana, they also have quite a footprint here.
Yes.
Do you feel the competition is unfair?
No, I don't think so. Without them at this moment, it will be difficult for Ghana to occupy the whole space of pharma.
Right.
So in that aspect, it's important we have them around.
Right.
It's important we have them around. But it's also equally important that the government feeds the young ones or the other Ghanaian competitors, other Ghanaian industry players, so that they come up. Other than that, very soon you see Ghana will be taken over by the Indian pharmaceutical players. Because if you talk about myself and Ernest Chemist and maybe one or two players around, we are very few. And the Indians are more. So my fear is that future, if you don't empower these young ones and I go off Nyame Pengu, you understand that?
Touch on what?
And Ernest, my brother, senior man, Ernest too, is not there. The children are not able to carry it proper. That means that we are phasing out of the pharma industry. And this is a very dangerous aspect for Ghana. And it's not good at all. So it's my humble request and my deepest passion that the government should put in more money into the pharmaceutical industry. Very importantly, the young ones into manufacturing, so that these young ones, when we pass on, these young ones can also carry the pharma industry on, so that it will not be that tomorrow my senior Ernest Chemist and is not there, Tobinco, maybe Kina Pharma, Kama. You see, we are all growing up. So when we are not there, the young ones will not be there. Then the Indians will take over. this is a big challenge, which I really, really passionately want to pass it across.
Well, that is why some of you must also have proper succession plans.
We have it.
Another problem we have in Ghana is that you have huge companies and sometimes the succession plans are not properly laid out. So when the main person, the doyen, goes, everything crumbles.
No, it's not like that of late. I know she Ernest has his son carrying it now. I have my daughter, my children carrying it now. It's not good. It's not bad. But we are just 2, 3, 4 people. I'm talking about the number of people. That is where I'm emphasizing for a support from the government today. So there will be more. And if my children carry it on, and our other brothers also, their people carry it on, we still need more industry players in this regard.
Right. You mentioned government. I just want you to narrow down on some specifics beyond money. Especially on the back of COVID-19, the manufacture of vaccines and all of those have come into the fray. What more specifically can government do to make you in the pharmaceutical industry comfortable enough and able to meet global standards and also to rival companies from across the world, to basically make you a hub right here in Ghana?
I think that we have this pharma, apart from the vaccine center that the government should support, we have this pharmaceutical lab that the government must put on, must help the FDA to bring across, and it's so important. We don't have it here. We don't have, so some of the labs and things that we have to do to meet the WHO standards and things, we need to go outside Ghana to have those labs. And looking at Ghana and where we situated in the sub-region, it's a place that the government can work on that facility, and it will support our industry. Because when you look at the regions around, not the sub-region, it's only Ghana that feeds almost all these countries. Like my company, for instance, drives, we supply almost all the regions except Nigeria. And when we get to all these regions, Burkina, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Guinea, Togo, Benin, and all these places, they don't have any pharma industry. And it's a serious big market, which when the government support us a little with this kind of facilities I'm talking about, we can take the whole of West Africa and even beyond West Africa. I supply to Cameroon, I supply to Tanzania, and all this sub-region. So I think that when the government gives a little support to our industry, I mean, we take the whole, because when we talk about West Africa, it's Ghana and Nigeria. And Nigeria, because their population is big, they don't worry themselves going out. Anytime we go for tender in other places, you don't see Nigerians. You see only Ghanaian players, I mean, competing ourselves.
Speaking of which, you've been in court for a long time, for some 10 years, about a decade, on that issue in respect of purported fake drugs. And this was when Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni was still in charge of the FDA. Tell us about that story and why you became mired in all of this.
Unfortunately, Kwabena Opuni has been, I mean, a short time frame before.
Short time frame? Short
time frame in the sense that I didn't know him before, but I knew him when he came to power, when NDC came to power. I'm a businessman, I'm not a politician. So most when it gets to my area, that is the pharma area, pharmaceutical area, the regulators are more or less our friends, our everything, because you have to work with them. You call them, like, by the grace of God, such a big company, definitely go to the FDA. So he became my short time friend when he resumed power at the FDA as a chief executive. Little did I know that he has a different motive about me. That is what I would say.
Really?
Little did I know, because I mean, I was shocked one day when I went to the office. I went to his office as usual, and he asked me to invite my partner, my major partner, my supplier from India to come. When we went there, and he brought a certain product called Jesunate Plus suppository. And he said, this product is fake. Just like that. With a very serious face, very unusual face, and very unusual behavior. I call him Minia. I said, Minia, my brother. He said, oh, Fedunia, you want to kill the children of Ghana and you are calling me Wunia. Hey. And I saw that the guy is much serious than I thought. So I said that, oh, okay, what is the matter? Then he said myself and my partner should go into the conference room. So we went to the conference room. Little we know that this guy is so furious. He called all his bosses, other departmental heads, and they all came to the conference room. And unfortunately, this is my first time seeing a government official behaving in that manner. Even me as a businessman, that I have a lot of junior staff and officer staff under me, I will not behave like that. I will not. This man hitting his table. Whoa, Tobinco, I will bring you down. Just it's so, I mean, I didn't know what causes that. What did I do wrong? I mean, what have I done to this man? He's a friend, but what went wrong? How big did he hit his hand on the table? So I became a bit jittery. So I was shocked. So I also became annoyed. I said, oh boy. So then the sub table, so when he hits the table, I also hit the table. Oh boy. And he said, we challenge me. So that is how the whole thing started. So we were about to go out of the office. In that annoyance, he brought the suppository, showed it to the man, and said, this is the product you brought. Look at it. When we were just leaving his office, then we didn't know there was some car just came around, crossed I was using, I think, some BMB. Then the car crossed our car. Then the people came out. Then they came and opened our doors in a Rambo style. Come out. If you say anything, we use it against you.
When you say they came, and who were they?
They were BNI people. Later we got to know they were from BNI.
Now NIB.
Now NIB. Yeah, they were from NIB. Then they said we should be to their car. We should go to their car. Then immediately they escorted us to their car and they drove us to their office at the 37 place there. We didn't know anything. He said, don't say anything. If you say anything, we'll use it against you at the court of law. So we're quiet. Then they put us into their counterback. We were there almost the whole day. My partner is a diabetic patient, and he want to take medicine, and there's no water, no food. Then they told us that Dr. Opuni asked them to, bring us there. So they are waiting for them to come. They didn't come, so they asked us to go and come the next day. We came the next day, the third day. Then they brought a paper. They brought a letterhead for us to sign that we should admit that we've brought in fake products. Then they'll cause our relief. They'll cause our release. Other than that, we will be there. And because of the frustration we're going in, we didn't even read. If we do this and they'll cause our release, then let us sign. Then we signed.
So you're saying you signed under duress?
Under duress. We signed purely at the BNI office under duress, and seriously, the next day morning, we find it everywhere in the newspaper. What really helped us at that time is that God, by His own grace and by His own mercies, gave me the strength and the power to fight Him. If not, about 700 to 800 staff that I had then at Tobinco alone would have I don't know where they will be. So because we fought him on the radio, the TV, when they come on TV, we also come on TV. Came on radio, we also went on the radio. That is what probably saved our company through the grace of God.
I see. Dr. Kwabena Opuni from Pong is someone, just some months ago, I bumped into him somewhere and we had a little chat. That was my first time interacting with him. He's not here to defend himself or to corroborate or otherwise what you're saying. So to be fair to him, we're here engaging Elder Dr. Tobin. He may have a different version of the story.
If I should just make this comment because of what you've said. This point that I've said is not a new thing. When you go to your archives, you find all this. TV Trade, News, they all have the records.
I think that is...
what supported us, and I'm really happy having this chat and conversation with you, is if all Ghanaians, business people that have been harassed, cheated, bullied by this kind of government officials will get up like what I did, nobody will be bullied. It's because when they are being bullied, they are all quiet. People are just quiet. People are afraid. So they go into their shells and they don't come out. So you give them the power. So what we are talking about is not a secret thing. It's an open thing that it came on the radio. I sent my man on the TV, radio. So what we are saying is a thing that we've already discussed in the past 10 years ago.
And that's not even where I was. I was talking more about the instances in his office and banging the table and the setting, that which we do not, apart from hearing it from you today, I have not heard. But the other bits,
it has been on air 10 years ago.
I see. Well,
yes.
Then I am not privy to that.
Yes.
But now you have made mention of it. Now that you've gone past that, there's the court issue. The Accra High Court has exonerated you.
Yes.
So the bit about importing fake drugs and all of that. You've been cleared.
Yes, by the grace of God.
How does that make you feel? This was what, July the 29th, right?
Yes, July 29th, yes.
How does it make you feel?
Oh, I feel good. I'm so happy. I mean, very happy, extremely happy for one thing, being alive for me to, being cleared on this case. You see, when you get to now, the world is not like before that the internet is not there. I mean, information are being rubbish out in no time. But now information are being kept for ages. So tomorrow, if I didn't fight on this case and court did not clear me, tomorrow you'll be there dead and gone, and your grandchildren will be facing, your granddaddy sold fake products. Your granddaddy made money because he did that, and we will not be there to tell the truth. So by the grace of God, as we are alive now, we must fight for the right things to be put in place before tomorrow. If we go, we leave the state. So I'm so extremely happy. I'm happy for that reason, one. And I'm also happy that at least somebody in power who is so strong at his time, backing by the then government, and he has been bullied me, and I've fought back, I've gone to court, and I've won the case. It makes me so proud. So I'm a hero. What makes me the hero is that...
Makes you feel like Superman, huh?
Yes, I'm a Superman. Because why do I say this? I don't know whether maybe I should say it or not, but a person, that guy, Opuni, I told you I've been a short time friend before. He's a strong guy. It's just a short interview. I cannot tell you what I went through with my family. I must try to run away from this country because I was told I'll be killed, he will kill me, and all that.
Who told you this?
Oh, the family, and it's all over.
No.
He himself,
who threatened you with this?
Opuni himself threatened me like that. He himself told me, I'll do to you as... Yes. This is out there. He told me, and when you meet him, you ask him that Tobinco said that. Samuel, I'm not Tobin. I said that. He told me that as I did to Samenshia, the same thing I'll do to you. And I asked him, what did he do to Samenshia? More or less, Samenshia and the husband all are dead because of this. And he opened his mouth. We went to...
Did he say this to you in confidence, in private, or were there witnesses?
Publicly, my brother. I will never lie on him for any reason. I'm a matured guy. By the grace of God, I'm a reasonable person. Lying and destroying people, no, it's not it doesn't be my character. I don't come out, I don't talk. So coming up with an issue and something that somebody has done wrong, then you must know that where I'm coming from, it's true. He told me openly in his office severally. We went to, I can't remember where, we went to the relative's office at National Security. When we're getting down, the relative and other team people party people wanted to settle this matter. When we're coming out, Opuni intentionally walked beside me like this. And he told me, "Wo Tobinco so be challenge me. You say you challenge me. Say I'm the years I'm in a bush for. I will do the same thing." So my husband shot himself. And the wife couldn't stand. The BP went up or something. The wife died. And she was so happy to do that.
You realize these, and I keep saying, because the work we do, we must listen to both sides. Like in law, audi alteram partem, listen to the other side. Which is why I'm being cautious about some of this. If Dr. Opuni at some point also wants to deliver what is his verdict of the story, he can do that. But you do realize that these are very serious accusations you are making against the former FDA boss.
If it's not
even suggesting that he said to you that he would crush you to the point where you would want to kill yourself.
Yes, I'm not saying it in a hiding place. I'm not saying it to you. I mean out of camera. He said it, and it's all over the place. And ask the family of the Samenshia. And ask the Samenshia she has a family. So if you mention her name in a public like this, the family also be hurt at least. So my condolences to the family. But still, this is open facts. He said it. And not only he's saying that, threatening me with other issues. He said, I wanted to run to Germany or US through Togo. I drove to Aflao, wanted to cross the border. People told me, leave this country. I took my passport. I went to Aflao border to run. And those who carry me to cross the border from Lomé, from Aflao to Lomé, the guy told me that when the guy saw me, he said, you were in the papers yesterday. And the customs watch through the papers, and the immigration people, they go through the papers all the time because of the border. So if you try, they will get you. They will know. So if you won't mind, we'll give you agbilima. But you know agbilima. How do you say agbilima in English?
That's the dough, right?
Cassava dough.
Cassava dough.
We'll give you a sack you put on your head. You put agbilima. Then you cross like one of us before you can escape. When I went through that night, I wept. I really wept. Seeing myself from a very, small, poor family, I really hawked in Accra, begging food before I eat. I sell PKs before my hands will go to my mouth, and selling this away in the village and all that. Coming out like that to this level. And somebody just came and said, I'll finish you. And now I'm escaping, I'm running away, not because of anything, but because somebody has really determined to finish me. As a matter of fact, that word alone encouraged me that I will go let him finish me.
So did you do that? Did you cross the border?
I did not do, because when I wept that night, this thing came in my mind, and God came. And I don't want to bring the God factor too much. Like I really had this voice that called me in your way. Go, and he cannot do anything. He cannot do anything to you. So I drove back, crying. My wife and my family asked me, "Why go and call?" And I said, "No, I'll come. If I die, let me die." Then I came back. Then we continued the fight. Then President Mahama called me. He told me that I will help you. I'll remove him, then this case will settle.
The former president told you.
The former president told me this, and I agreed.
In other words, that he would remove Opuni from the FDA.
Yes, I give him this
credit. Would die.
That is the fact. That is the truth. I'm not here to do partisan politics. This matter is not partisan. It's not.
You started by saying you are a businessman. You don't do politics.
Purely businessman. I'm not talking about any party, but I'm talking about facts, things that happened a decade ago. Facts. He called me. He said, "Oh, I will do this so that we can cool the matters and all that. You calm down. Don't go to the radio again. Don't go to the TV. We'll cool these matters." So indeed, by 2-3 days, we had the news that Dr. Opuni has been more or less promoted. More or less, the transfer was not demotion. So he was promoted to the cocoa board. And that shows that what the former president said, he has done it. Then he brought in Hudu Muntari, who was also a very good CEO. He came in to support us. Hudu Muntari came, registered all the products the Opuni said he will not register. And even apart from that, because he labeled our products as fake and he gave her that bad publicity, it caused the former president to come here. President Mahama came to my office here, my company here, just to...
Right here where we are sitting?
Yes, where we are sitting. He came down there, went through the factory, gave a speech. The media came and captured him and talked about the efficacy of our product, and that really
to give you some positive
and cleansed the system and gave us a very good picture. And that really indeed supported our name and our industry up. But he didn't give me any support, no money. I was thinking that he would support me, say that Tobinco, that should me.
But you say you had got the 5 million facility, or by this time you hadn't got it yet?
No. By then, no, we've not gotten the 5 million. We've not gotten the money.
So it was later you got the 5 million?
Later we got the 5 million. It's later. Now he calling me to support me. No, the guy have just, bent my products without no cost, no reason. And you came, you watched my place. No, that's good. Give me good image and good. But I wanted some cash.
Eventually.
So I really appreciate what he did at that time. I'm really grateful to his attitude towards me that time.
I'm going to ask you a barrage of questions very quickly. I want us to tackle these before we move to other things.
Yeah, okay.
The suppository that Dr. Opuni used as some sort of evidence against you or brought up, were you aware of it? Did you know anything about it? Was it indeed compromised in any way?
Amazingly, the answer to this question will be at when you read the judgment. The judgment will support this answer very well.
What does it say?
Before the judgment told that their witnesses came to testify. They said that the suppositories were fake and whoever takes it will die and all that. The court asked them to bring evidence. Just evidence, one evidence. They couldn't produce. So why will I do that? I'm from a very poor home, and God by his grace has brought me this far. What I have is so much. I appreciate God, what has done to me so much that I don't know why I can even say, let me go and bring some things that is fake or improper to make more money to where God has brought me. If you understand what I'm saying, I don't know whether you understand. If you are from a poor home and you are being raised to, like you walk on the street to work, you work all the time, and God by his own grace give you some small tigo, my brother, you appreciate the tigo so well. That is what I want to say. The level that God has brought me, I'm so much content. I'm so much happy. For me, going to create some things is not possible. So the court really review, when you read this judgment, it will tell you, really review that is totally false, totally wrong.
I have read your statement as well on this matter, but why do you think someone would, supposedly, and again, I say this in context, why do you think someone would do this to you? What do you think could have triggered such an action?
You see, we are in a country that has a lot of political influences. People think that maybe you belong to that session. It triggers that, not one. Two, Ghana is so close, Ghana is so small country that we more or less relate to each other. Ghana is not like Nigeria or India that has about 1 million population or 200,000 population. So close, so more or less we all know each other. When you go to the ministries, we know each other. Everybody knows Tobinco. This one knows this one. So maybe one way or the other, when you air somebody and the person wants to destroy you, you may not know. You may not know. You may not know. Either party or do this thing for me and you didn't do, or maybe if I'm into girlfriend, boyfriend matter, I say maybe you touch my girlfriend, so I also touch you. You know, there are a lot of things that may cause this.
So you suspect that maybe you stepped on someone's toes and they wanted to get back at you?
Maybe. Because I didn't know what I did wrong. I didn't know where I really went wrong. I couldn't. Till today, I've never thought of anything that I did wrong, that this guy must harass me like that. Till today, I've never thought of anything.
On the back of this, very briefly, how much do you think you lost on the back of these actions, your company being blacklisted in a way until the former president had to intervene? About how much did you lose? Actually, if you had to value it.
After even the president, our former president came in, it's not the matter of what you lost before he came in. The matter of even what we lost after his
intervention.
Because when your company and your brand and your image is being labeled fake, there's no business. Our products were in the market, people were not patronizing it, they were not buying, they were not coming near us. When you get to, so we lost a lot of money. Approximately, you see, the court brought in 90-something million. That is, you see, the point is not the money, but the point is we getting the judgment, we winning the case. That is my joy. But if you talk about the money we presented to the court, barely about 18-20 million. That is the things that this man was able to load from our warehouses. He brought trailers.
18-20 million. Are you talking cedis?
Dollars. 18 to 20 million dollars. He brought trailers. I just say, that is what I will say. And I really want to see this in tree. If God is not alive, I don't think I'll be anywhere today. You see your things, your goods in your warehouse being loaded, not to a customer, but to a destruction field, or that's a burning field. Where they are taking the goods to go, not product that has expired, and you see it and you still stand like this, and you still live today. It takes the people with the grace of God. If it is not by the grace of God, I would have been alive by now. He went to Tamale loading the goods there. One person, another team of his are in Takrade loading the goods. Another people are in Kumasi in trailers.
Simultaneously.
Trailers, Then they will tell you, and it's in the newspaper, and challenge you that all those products are fake. How? And sending me to not only that, then the Yoko people will also pull you and say that
because you were invited there.
You've been invited to Yoko. At that same time, that guy has been justified right to vend the products. And Yoko people were able to get the gas, the power, the courage to call you that, come, you've imported fake products, so come to Yoko and you go and sit in Yoko. Every day you are in Yoko and this guy is burning everything. My goodness. This is the kind of country we find ourselves.
Beyond this, you say the court mentioned 90 million among others. You've been exonerated, yes.
Yes.
But if you feel aggrieved business-wise, are you going to seek redress through the courts?
Yes, of course.
Have you started that process?
I've not started that process, but like I earlier said, it's not a matter of the money. But I also equally think that it's not fair, because what we lost was so much than we getting that 94 million cedis. But the joy side of it is me getting the approval. The judgment. If not, like I'll go to appeal court. I'll appeal the case. Yes.
If you hadn't got that July 29 judgment, you would have gone to the Court of Appeal.
No, I'm talking about the money involved. If not because of I'm happy that we've gotten. At the end of the day, what I wanted to have is to exonerated. That's what I wanted to have. Because we've gotten that one, it's okay. If not, like, I'll not, I'll send this case higher to probably Supreme Court. Yes.
I'm going to push you. You just said
no problem
that you don't want to be a coward. You
Yes.
don't want your children to follow suit.
Yes.
If the right things are to be done, and if you feel justified, apart from the exoneration, you would push for damages, right? So that the right records are set, so that in future someone else, if all of this, as the court has ruled, is actually the case, someone else will also not suffer the same fate.
Yes.
Don't you think so?
We asked for damages in our court suit.
Right.
We did ask for damages. And then the damages is what I mentioned. That's
The 90 plus.
About 19 plus million.
19.
18 to 20 million.
Right.
18 to 20 million.
Are we talking dollar or city?
Dollars, sorry.
Dollars.
18 to 20 million dollars.
Right.
That is our damages that we sent to court. But this is a case that the court thought that we didn't come out with other things that are equally important to prove. And how will we prove it? The guy asked our containers at the port, don't clear the containers. May her soul rest in peace, our dear Honorable Shirley Aiti, then the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health stood in, said, no, what he is doing is wrong, what he is doing, but nobody was able to control this guy. So the containers at the port were seized without his instrument of it. They said they had something, executive instrument. It didn't issue the Minister of Health must issue an executive instrument for those containers to be held at the port. There's no any executive instrument. The executive instrument that must be issued for him to get our products banned. Nothing like that was
So legally speaking, the right things were not done.
Were not done. But now, so we, even though we've
damages,
the damages across the court did not granted those damages to us. This is where I was saying that if not because I'm content, I'm okay with the court case, like I'll go to appeal because of the damages now that were not granted. But okay, I'm content with I'm really content.
You're still in business, like
Yes.
you say, by God's grace, you're still doing
yes,
well.
I'm in business.
My
fun is I've taken it like that, and I appreciate God for what He has done.
All right. Yes. But let's talk about the issue of standards, especially when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
You can't compromise standards because
yes.
once you do, people will die.
No, you cannot compromise.
What is your take on that? I'm sure in recent years you've heard of some cough syrups and the rest, and children dying in different parts, Gambia, Nigeria, other places, some medication that sometimes come through from Asia and the rest, which are not exactly safe. What do you make of the standards or standardization of pharmaceuticals in Ghana, and how we can maybe better it so that what happened to you likely wouldn't happen to anybody else?
I think that in this aspect, being an industrialist, as it is now, plainly, I'm not a pharmacist. So some of these questions, I may not be able to go deep into it. But clearly, as a businessman, sometimes it may be a fault, a mistake, unaware, unexpected. The production manager may do something wrong, which when they come out, the QA people, the quality control people must check, and the whole batch must be called back, even if it has gone to the market.
Right.
They must call the batch
Which is
back.
standard practice.
Which is standard practice.
Not just pharmaceuticals.
Any industry.
Right.
And the other side is deliberate acts. That people intentionally reduce molecules, APIs, things that should, give the product the highest quality. They intentionally reduce them. That is where the cause is.
Right. For
money, for reducing the efficacy so that it gets a lot of money and things. And this thing here, Ghana, truly, let me put this thing right. The FDA, it's so much strong. Our FDA, I don't know, it's
one of the best in the region.
One of the best, not only in our region as the sub-region, but also in the whole of Africa. Why will I say this? Where we are now, and we having the power and this ability to supply to all these sub-regions is the support of the FDA. So if the FDA is not on top, this kind of things that happen in Gambia, and the drugs that came from Gambia to, from India to Gambia to Nigeria and those things, those cough syrup, would have happened in Ghana. But the FDA are on top. Our FDA, from the very first FDA CEO, Mr. Kokwe, may he so rest in peace, to Ejakon and all those guys that have passed through FDA, we've gotten excellent CEOs.
Let me ask you this quickly. Would you say that apart from this tussle with Dr. Opuni,
yes,
do you think he did well as an FDA CEO? Apart from your personal rift with him, his work that he did there?
Oh, I would say that Dr. Opuni didn't do so bad. That one, in America. Dr. Opuni, when you get to his office and when things get to him, he approves them on time.
Okay.
Businesses he works like a businessman, though he's a doctor, a medical doctor for that matter. But when things get to him, when you change your things to registration and things, we're getting our things on time. What I know about him, even 12 midnight, you go to the office, he's still there working, signing documents. But it's like his temper, that is his personal attitude, his personal life. But this is what causes a lot of the industry players, not only me, a lot of people, had a lot of casualties. We're hurt. Right. But apart from that, he did well. At his time, he did well.
Right.
That one day.
Yes. Staying on the bit about standardization, in this company, you deal in pharmaceuticals,
yes,
at least this arm of your
yes,
organization.
Yes.
How do you enforce standards? How do you ensure the safest quality of products, whether you're looking at generic or the other ones, the ones with the, I've just forgotten that term, but it's usually the generic that have a lot of problems from what I hear. How do you ensure the highest standards?
For your kind information, our plant is the biggest and well-filled and well-sophisticated in terms of machines in the whole of, I would say the whole of West Africa. I may not go to the north of Africa. There you find Egypt, Algeria and other countries. You find those countries around there. So they may be also in there. But in terms of this West Africa, this factory is top. In terms of, when you go to FDA, people will tell you.
What makes it top?
Top means that state-of-the-art equipment, the size, the production level, the quality and everything. It makes it top. We have our QA people, that's our quality control people there, our QC, our production heads. There are a lot of things, a lot of people are here to see to it that the quality and the efficacy of the products are not being touched. That one I can tell you for. And like I earlier said, the FDA have been the key instrument, the key supportive instruments in this matter. They come here, they bring their men here to regulate us, do this, put this thing right, don't do that. And I think that it has been a very helpful side to us.
Talking about your quality assurance among, other things, I've seen people of supposedly different nationalities. At least I've seen some people here that I suspect may be Indians or
Indians.
Pakistanis.
Yeah, we have.
So you have some of them here
we
as
have
well.
Some Indians to support us. Our quality control head is an Indian. That doesn't mean that we don't have Ghanaians that can also take in charge of that side. They are also, but sometimes the pharmaceutical industry do not have that much players. Unfortunately, the pharmaceutical industry do not have that much players. That number of quality control men in Ghana, and also the QC, the quality assurance people in Ghana. That is why sometimes you need to import some of these people to come and support us.
On the pharmaceuticals, I'm going to end on this note: health delivery in Ghana, and maybe you can rope in a national health insurance scheme, for example, and how it's working. From where you sit, you are a major player in all of this. What do you see? How can the system be made better?
Actually, with now the national health insurance they are doing well. The NHIA, they are doing well. Before, people like us, my company will supply to hospitals, small hospitals and big hospitals, and you will not be paid because they will tell you that national health people have not paid them. And by the grace of God, now it's not bad. So I think that if they are paying us well and on time, it will cost all the industry players like us, like myself, who supply the hospitals more. There will be products, there will be availability of both ACT products and generic products available. So people walk in and they will easily get products. I think that I think major thing is what they've solved now is the payment schedule that they've done. They are now paying us in time, and that alone has solved the total issue of having problem with the national health program.
My final bit to you, it's not just pharmaceuticals you're into. Tell us a bit about, just briefly, about your other businesses, and let's focus on your media empire. That's why I want us to wrap the conversation.
Amazingly, do you know the interesting side of my blow and my saga with Dr. Opuni?
I can guess. You want me to guess?
Yes, tell me.
Because matters went to the media and you felt you were being harassed, you also decided to get into media? Is that
Oh, no, not only that. Yes.
That
is
right?
one.
I suspected as much.
That is one. That is one. When the issue came, less do I know that the media is so strong. Less did I know that the media was so strong. So when the thing went to the media and the media carried it and everybody, hey, so the media is that strong. So that caused me to enter into media. But the major interest side of it also is that I also realized that if you are in Ghana and you trade or you work with one company, if you have only one company, like I had Tobinco, only Tobinco. And you don't find yourself, you don't try to, be in other industries, other companies, and you don't create other companies. Tomorrow, if anyone gets up like what Opuni did, and they crash your company, you are gone. You are dead and gone. And that caused me to go into insurance. So it's Opuni who helped me to open insurance. So I too, even though it was bad, I was in a bad situation. I was crying and all that. People were, praying for me and all that. Opuni's presence and his matters and issue caused me to open the Abi National, the bank that is in a private insurance. Then I went into university, that's Entrance University, Science and it's a science school. It's a science school. We do only pharmacy. We are coming to medicine and dentistry and nursing. We only deal in science. That also caused me to be in the university. I have hospital. So my mind became like, if you are in one industry and somebody want to crash you, for God forbid, if one want to crash you, and he crashes you in that field, that business, you are gone. So then let me stretch my scope.
So you decided to spread your tentacles.
Tentacles to enter into other businesses. So in a way, I give. Is it kudos to Opuni?
And of course, the media, insurance, all of those have had an impact. But just because of what you said, how about the herbal medicine, area? What do you think we can do to?
Herbal medicine area, I think the FDA is handling that side. And like earlier said, our FDA is a very supportive instrument so far as medicines are concerned. But for my personal opinion, I think that there must be a serious regulation. It must be regulated well in the areas that they can know their strength. The strength of the medicine, right, so that it can be prescribed according to
composition, efficacy,
efficacy,
and what?
Or the composition. Because sometimes they'll ask you take cup and drink okwa nomanopa bako ewia bako enyimre bako. So you go and pour it in a gallon and you just put, and it's killing a lot of people. Destroy their liver, their kidney. People come to my church, support us to do. We are going to do dialysis and all that. All the kidneys and things are being caused by this herbal preparations. So if for this matter FDA can support or in any how can support for us to solve this matter proper, so that this kind of not measuring the strength of the medicine before it's being dispensed, I think that it will be helpful.
All right. In some 20 seconds, if you have any final words, we'll take them now.
I'm so grateful to God and as a matter of fact for what He has really done. It shows that it pays to serve Him. I mean, it pays to be His own. It pays to rely your company and rely on Him. I mean, put your company and yourself on Him. Give it to Him and He'll handle it proper. Because in the days of about a decade ago, 10 years, 11 years ago, what we went through, if it hasn't been by His grace, we would have been here. And more so, my second appreciation goes to all the people, Apostle Opuni, that is my former chairman. He came when I was arrested at Kotobabi police station. They brought me to Nima police station. Nima police station, and I was there, and the whole place was jammed. Almost the whole Accra came. And release him. And in the midst of that, when I was in the cells there, I saw Apostle Pokunyina and Apostle Prophet Ameniampon and his team. They came to get me out. So my appreciation goes to him as well. And also all the Church of Pentecost people. All the church people, all of them prayed with me. And loved ones, my friends, my family, my customers that stood in, that had trust, believed in me. More so, above all, my total staff. And I'm going to have a big party for the staff that has been with me from that time to today.
Well, thank you, Elder, for joining the conversation.
Okay.
This has been a conversation with Elder Dr. Samuel Amo Tobin. He is chairman of the Tobinco Pharmaceutical Group, and of course, there are other arms. He has shared his story with us today on AM Exclusive with me, Benjamin Akapo. From us to you, we're grateful. Thank you for watching.
Declaration don't mean anything to us.
A peace declaration? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything to you?
It doesn't mean anything to us because all previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. If you allow violence to be brewed, you have violence, whether you sign declaration or not. And so that is why, for more than a year ago, I started talking about the need for us to remove the building blocks for violent elections. So at any stage, when something is happening, I call on those who in future will call us to sign declarations to speak up so that we stop this particular thing from happening. Otherwise, if you allow all those things to build up, and you say that, let us go and play peace football match, let us sign declaration, let us do this with the hope that we will get a peaceful election. Peaceful election will not happen. Because we did all this in 2020. All this and more in 2020. Council of State, Peace Council, everybody was involved. Signing declarations left, right, center. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the whole of the Fourth Republic.
So this year, not signing.
So it tells you that signing or no signing is not the issue.
We're back on your screens to get surgical with some of the utterances political actors have been making? Benjamin Akako. That was the
Well,
chairman.
it makes for interesting discussion because you look at some of the points raised by the chairman of the NDC and Asiedu Nketia, and it just leaves you with chills. But there's also the other side and what has been said. Well, joining the conversation, we're going to elaborate on those matters. Mustafa Gbande is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and the National Peace Council's chairperson, the president as well, joins the conversation. Reverend Ernest Edujemfi. He's chairman of the National Peace Council. But let me start with Mustafa Gbande. Is this Johnson Asiedu Nketia makes it appear this has been the position for quite a while now. Is this a long-standing position of the NDC after election 2020?
Good morning and thank you for having me. I think basically it has not been a resolution that came out of nothing. But we are here, and we only got here because of events. Events that we cannot recount. We've signed...
Walk us through those events. Walk us through those events.
Yeah, so those events are what I'm going to talk about now. Post-2016 election, we've signed and called for peaceful elections.
Hello, Mustafa. Mustafa Gbande, can you hear me? Okay, let's try this. Mustafa Gbande, I think there's a bit of a connectivity issue. Can you hear me?
Okay, I don't think you can
I think because he's on the move, there may be some connection issues as well. Mustafa, let me just try one last time. Mr. Gbande, can you hear me? Okay, I guess Mustafa is not on. Reverend Edujemfi, are you on the line with us? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's just situate the conversation. I don't know whether you watched the video with Johnson Asiedu Nketia interacting with my colleague Evans Mensah, but he says they are not signing any declaration this time round, and that the declarations in the past have not solved any problems. He says in the past they have meant nothing on the back of what we've seen in the elections and maybe post the elections as well. What are your initial thoughts? What is your initial reflection on this? Are we sowing the seed of violence? Are we placing the building blocks of violence for election 2024? How do you see this?
No, thank you for having us this morning. In the first place, I wouldn't say that just saying that they will not sign the peace pact is a seed for violence. I think these are the initial concerns. And for us as a council, as a body that does negotiation and mediation, we've heard these concerns. Our doors are still open to talk and to find out how do we address these concerns that have been raised. They are legitimate, they have concerns. We have set up a medium by which we meet with the parties to discuss issues, to determine what is the best way forward. And so if the NDC has concerns, we want to hear them. We set up a meeting with them to listen to them, to listen to what their concerns are. And we see how we can go forward with that. The challenge we're having is that we've had several meetings since the last election. First, going to the constituencies where death occurred to help the people to heal, to hear what their concerns are. That resulted in a dialogue which we had in Ada, where all of us in the election space met to discuss issues, to chart a course as to ensuring that these things do not happen again. For us as Peace Council, every assignment that was given to us has been executed. And we keep opening the doors for the parties, including having a quarterly dialogue with them. The challenge we are having is that anytime we meet with the parties, they send a different team. And therefore, the issues that are discussed and resolved are not communicated as it ought to. So by the time we meet again, they come back with the same issues. And so it's been a major problem for us. At the last but one meeting, they suggested that each party must have a regular representative so that they can communicate directly with that person. I think this gap of sharing information with the leadership of the party and the rank and file has been the reason why we are seeing what is going on now.
I see. Right. My colleague Sweetie Abochi will come in shortly. I just have to, on the back of what you've said, are you concerned about these points that have been made? And when you say they should meet with you so that their concerns can be addressed, I'm asking, what could you possibly do as the Peace Council? You are not the Electoral Commission, though you interact with them. You are not the political parties. You can't stem the tide of maybe what could happen if things don't go well. In the last election, we lost 8 lives. You can't prevent that. If those things happen and you say they should come and interact with you, what could that possibly yield? So one, how worried are you? And two, what would meeting with you yield on the back of this?
Yeah, the concerns that are raised are things that they had expected certain institutions to do. For instance, the killing. 2 days ago, we were in a meeting where we had some of the top-level NDC members present. The IGP had the opportunity to explain what they had done so far about that issue. And so a day after...
About which issue? The deaths of the 8 people?
Yes.
Okay.
So a day after, if I hear another comment, it means that that meeting has not been communicated to the leadership of the party. In the same case, in that same meeting, the Minister of Interior was there to explain this issue about the recruitment. He clarified the whole position. All of us were sitting there listening to him. The party members were there. They got clarity. So that has been our challenge, that sometimes these issues are raised, people concerned explain the whole thing, there appears to be some understanding, but then they are not able to go back to communicate to the rest of the party leadership. And so we still have this gap work with us. And those are the issues that I'm raising. If they have those concerns, we'll bring them back again. They will talk about those things. We'll bring the people directly to face them and explain the situation. I think we need just understanding. Once we understand ourselves, we shouldn't be splitting heads over anything.
Reverend, I mean, the concern of the NDC, the national chairman,
Johnson Asiedu Nketia,
right, and which you yourself have called legitimate, is that although these peace pacts and declarations help to prevent large-scale violence, they haven't completely removed incidents of violence from our elections. Does that in any way paint the picture of insignificance of this peace pact or declarations? Or does that paint a gap between the intent behind signing these declarations and what you actually intend to achieve? If so, how do we fix it?
You know, the reality is that how committed are they when they sign these documents? For instance, the current situation that we are in now, in one of our meetings, the party leaders, some of them suggested, why can't we bring the leadership of the two parties together, hold hands publicly, and tell the whole country, lay down your arms? They themselves, these are suggestions. We sit back and watch them. You know, we all realize that this is the only country we have. We cannot run to any other place. And so there's no need for us to beat the war drums. If one party wins the election, let's assume that NDC wins this election tomorrow, and the country is ungovernable. How are they going to govern? So we all have to cooperate and work towards peace. You know, some of the things they say, to us, it doesn't mean anything, because in competition, for somebody to say, I will win, it's just psyching the person up. We look at it in boxing, we look at it in football. Black Stars will say that Namibians are coming, we will beat them, and yet the Black Stars is beating. Azuma Nelson says that I'll beat the guy, and then something happens, and he loses the bout.
Right.
Everybody will stay out. So if somebody is out, to us, it's just part of the psyching themselves up to win or to lose, whatever. Election is won at the polling station. put in your structures properly, monitor what happens from the polling station to your collation center. And right now, even the rule is that once the results are declared at the polling station, they will paste a copy of it at the polling station on the wall there. Anybody can take the results. Who is going to read? You know, we need clarity on these matters. And I think that the forum created for all of us is to work together and make this country peaceful. I don't think that it helps us continuously talking as if I don't win, the whole country will burn. It doesn't help us in any way.
But Reverend, would you say that the intent behind signing these peace pacts or these peace declarations have actually achieved their purpose over the years?
It has. I mean, look at the last election. When the agitation started, we said, look, you signed a document. You said that you resolve the issue at the court. Go to the court. They went. Initially, they said they would go to court, all kinds of, but they went because that was the declaration. And the previous ones has been the same. So one will say that there is no effect. The question is, what kind of effect are we expecting? We said there will be no violence. There will be, and I don't think that each of these violences originally orchestrated. You know, all the statements, all of them are making. Sometimes they say, if NDP does this, we will do this. If NDC, the if is always there, and we listen to all those things carefully. If. So if the if doesn't happen, what happens? There will be peace. Right. So we keep negotiating with them about their ifs so that we minimize the tension as much as possible.
Let's also bring in Kofi Ahen, Albert Kofi Ahen. He is coordinator for CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. Mr. Ahen, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners as well.
Right. Let's start off with the political temperature on the back of some of the commentary we've seen recently. The Peace Council has had cause to wade into this. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has had cause to wade into this on the back of a repeat of what Brian Champong has said, will win by hook or crook. Then Malik Basintale of the NDC side responds, we'll meet you, fire, you know, when two iron pieces meet, there will be fire and all that. Then the latest we've heard, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress saying, this time round, we are not signing any peace pact, any peace declaration. Let the other side also do what is right. What does all of this, you know, create? Does it create any tension in your mind about election 2024?
Yeah, definitely these things will really create tension in the sense that, you know, people you may have meant well, like Branda Champon was saying, that he didn't actually mean that he was going to cause any violence or something. But you see, sometimes the way you go at it, the way you put it, might give some semblance of somebody who wants to either cause confusion or something. So I would say that we need to be careful the way we speak, especially in these times that we are heading towards the December election. We need to be very careful. For the NDC to say that they're not going to sign a peace pact, I would appeal to them that they should meet, if the Peace Council should call them, they should sit down with them. And if there are any issues outstanding, I know definitely people are going to talk about the fact that in the last election, for example, some people were killed, and to date, there has been no, maybe any action taken, the people have not been punished, and so forth and so on. But we would have to be very careful as a nation and tread cautiously, because these utterances, these sayings might not augur well for the peace of the country. So what I would say is that they should be very careful in the way they go about their utterances. And the Peace Council should try to organize and sit with the NDC so that at least we sign a peace pact. And then we have a peaceful election this year. We cannot go on like this with people coming with utterances that are inflammatory. I don't think it bodes any good omen for the nation. My appeal is to, not only to the NDC, but to everybody. Before one comes out to say anything, measure it. try to make sure that what you are going to say is not going to inflame passion, so that we go into this election with peace. And that is what I would say for now.
I have an interesting question. Is it just about the show? Oh, we have signed a peace declaration. For sure, we have signed it. Yes, we pledged to peace. Knowing very well that if the other side does something and there's a trigger, there will be an equal and opposite reaction, as you know, that theory will tell us. Look, for example, at, and we see the writing on the wall. I'm not saying that, I'm not forecasting violence, but I'm saying, look at the limited voters registration. We seem to have forgotten so quickly some of the scenes that came from there. People wielding machetes, guns in certain places, and all the things that the different political parties did. Will signing a peace declaration solve that? In my mind, it doesn't. It's about holding them accountable. So this bit about let's sign a peace declaration, is that what we need?
You see, you rightly said it. You see, when people commit crimes or atrocities or they do certain things going contrary to the law, my worry in this country is that even when we apprehend them, do we punish them? You see, when we apprehend people who commit these crimes by prosecuting them, at least it serves as a deterrent to people who might want to do things later, maybe in the next election or whatever. See, but most of the time, what I've seen in this country is that we apprehend them like what happened during the the voter registration exercise. People were trying to fire, weapons at police exhibition centers or registration centers, and we just look on. Even if we arrest them, we don't punish them. And I would want that one day there will be a situation where people arrested are punished and made public. For us to know that when you commit a crime like this, this is the punishment for you. But the moment we always brush it aside, we keep piling them up. And so everybody gets up and does anything with impunity.
I'm just going to have to follow up briefly. You say we should have a law.
And that is why the parties are now saying that they don't want to sign a peace pact because it is just it's symbolic.
Mr. Ahin.
Bring up anything. Yeah.
Mr. Ahin, you say we should have a law that says that if you do X, Y, Z, you will be punished. All those things are in the law. In fact, we even went ahead, anti-vigilantism and all of that. We've gone through all of these processes on the back of Ayawaso West Wuogon. We've gone through these processes. It's not about having anything in the law. The laws exist, but like you said, people do these things and there's no punishment for them. So I'm going back to that question, and I think later on, if Reverend James also has the opportunity, he can answer that question as well. What will be the essence of this if we don't narrow it down and punish those who are to be punished? Like you rightly said, people have done things in the past. Till today, they've not been punished. How do you think that will impact this whole bit about signing a peace declaration? I don't know what your take is.
Yeah, you really answered that question. That is why I'm saying that once people commit crimes, then they are not punished. Others also follow and commit other crimes or atrocities with impunity. See, when you punish people for committing crimes, it serves as a deterrent. Mr. A did this at a police station or at a police center or at an exhibition center. He was apprehended and was punished. Next time, anybody also trying to commit a similar thing or a similar crime will tread cautious or might not be able to do it at all. So this goes to the principle that please, anytime there's an election and a crime is committed, let us try to punish the culprit. When we do that, we send messages across that you cannot do anything like that with impunity and go scot-free. That is the only thing that we can do. If we don't punish, we don't, go anywhere. We will still stay at the same place.
Mr. Ahin, you're saying we need a law, we need to punish culpable people. And let me just quote the words of the chairperson of the NCC, Madam Carly Nadi, and she said, Ghana is the prize in this crucial election.
Ghana is what?
Ghana is the prize, right? And winning that prize means that we are going to have a free, or we should have a free and fair election. These elements that you're proposing, the laws punishing people, is that really what we need in this election? Because the focus is how to have a free and fair election this year because of how crucial it is. Is that what we need to prevent recidivism, if I should put it that way, in terms of violence and political unrest that's plague our elections?
I didn't get you quite right there, but the ones that came into
what
my
I'm
ear.
saying is, let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Ghana is the price. Come December 7, 2024, when we go to the polls, the aim is for Ghana to win the election, not for one party or people to be killed, lose their lives, political unrest. The whole aim of having even this conversation right now is to ensure that we have a free and fair election. You're saying that we need a law, we need to punish those who are culpable, those who offend or commit crimes during election times. I'm asking, is that all that we need to do? Also on the back that now political parties are saying they don't see the import of signing a peace declaration. And from where you said, as national coordinator for CODEO, is that all we need to do to avoid, relapsing or violence? And I use the word recidivism.
You see, what we need to do is to preach peace and to tell the whole nation that it doesn't pay for anybody to just violate the law concerning the election. Look, anytime there's an election, I've always been saying that no matter what happens at the police station, there are rules and regulations covering elections. And the citizenry should be made aware. There should be enough education for people to know that you cannot take the law into your hands when you get to a police station or when you are about to cast your ballot or whatever it is. The law is there. Just obey the law. For example, if you go to a police station and somebody is going to cast the ballot and you think that the person is not a Ghanaian or whatever it is, there are forms to fill. There are things to do to remedy the situation. But what do we do in this country? We throw the law aside and with impunity we would want to resolve the issue there and then. And that is why we always have problems when we have elections.
What are these things that are there to do? I mean,
there are
offering for
regulations covering
solutions.
elections. Why don't you use the method, the right method? Instead of, for example, firing a gun at a police station. And this is why, as I've always been saying, that we need to really educate the masses on some of these processes. We don't have to be sentimental. We don't have to be biased. So biased that we forget about the rules of the game and resort to anything.
Let's connect with Mustafa Gbandi again and see if we can get him this time. I think, Benjamin, you were engaging him on what he makes of that statement.
Yes, indeed. Mustafa, if you can hear me now, I was just asking for your initial reaction to the chairman of your party and the statement that has been made, and whether that has been the long-standing position of the NDC. We can start from there with you, Mustafa.
Thank you very much. I think that the conversation about peace relative to security is not about signing pacts, particularly when, even in the case of National Peace Council, they seem to lose their voice when the occasion demands so. They only become parents of the political parties, we feel, when it is on the side of the NDC. But when MPP does something, then they rise to the occasion to now become parents and are calling for us all to sit on the round table. Their responsibility should
are you alleging bias as far as the National Peace Council is concerned?
Not just bias. The National Peace Council reneges on their responsibilities and what the nation expects of them. They simply lose their voice when the occasion demands. They don't walk through the systems of compliance as far as peace and security is concerned. Here we are. You cannot be talking about peace when you don't review the entire mechanisms for what brings about the peace. We are talking about Electoral Commission, who is supposed to conduct an election. We are talking about Ghana Police Service, which is supposed to protect that election. We haven't been able to define where the military comes into an election and what role the police should actually be doing. CODEO talked about punishing offenders in this country. If somebody from the NDC is caught perpetrating violence, the person should be arrested. If somebody from the MPP does so, he should be arrested and punished. But when from the government and people are well incentivized and put in uniform to go and commit crime, and then the state protect them, do you expect the other party to be sleeping? No. He talked about having conversation and explaining to political parties. We cannot be talking about killing when you have sat down for 7 years and you are now talking about conversation. You should be interested in the level of investigation that have gone in the supposed killing of those individuals. You should be interested in ensuring that where a law is in danger, peace council should enforce. You can find your voice in the media, not in a tea party room where political parties sit down. Let the media help you enforce elements of peace by ensuring that the institutions of peace are actually working. Today, as we speak, the Electoral Commission is required by law to give all political parties provisional voter register ahead of exhibition. The Electoral Commission clearly have violated the law, have failed to do so. Would you say that the Electoral Commission is going to organize a transparent election, given the circumstances we find ourselves? Today, as we speak, functionaries of government make threatening comments to the election, and you expect the political party to come and sign documents. What did the Peace Council say when Brianna Champon made that comment? They didn't say nothing. They kept quiet. They lose their point.
Well, we had an interaction with Mustafa Gbande. Hold for me. We had an interaction right here, sweetie. I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and we spoke. We had interactions with the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. In the paper that day, the National Peace Council had also reacted to the matter, stating that from both ends, whether Brian Champong or Malik Basintali, these were not comments that would inure to our peace. So it is unfair to say that they had not said anything on the back of that. It's unfair.
Well, the usual commentary, no substance. I will expect to see National Peace Council walking to the police and say that what Brianna Champon have said, investigate the elements of criminality in it, investigate the elements of what threaten our peace in it, and take some action. I expect them to invite Malik Basintali and say, let's analyze what he said and see if there are some elements that threaten our peace. You cannot be making commentaries and that is the end of it. Then we are just heading to a slaughterhouse.
The National Peace Council, it's not a law enforcer. They are not the Ghana Police Service, are they?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that their role should be the fact that they are on the neck of state institutions who anchor peace and security to actually do their work. We are headed into a dangerous election. Are they engaging with Ghana Police Service to structure how election security is going to be? Who are those to be involved in the election? How do they get identified? At what time do they take an action? At what time do they not take an action? What will be the role of other security institutions in the 2024 election? Where does the police stand? Where does the military stand? Where does national security stand? So if you are talking about peace pact, without properly having an open and a broad-based conversation about these issues, what are you talking about?
Be that as it may, in the face of these elements that you say point to a wrong or a gap in, our quest for peace, how does abstaining or deciding not to sign the peace declaration actually right these wrongs? How do you achieve your goal of the peaceful election if you are choosing to opt out of signing a peace pact, which, although does not solve the entire problem, it solves some bit of it? How does that help us achieve our goal?
The only assurance to peace is when we enforce fundamental rule of law and respect to fundamental human rights. At the back of the bad faith of the Peace Council, where a lot of peace pacts have been signed, but only given lip services and there haven't been any serious attention to this, I believe that, you can't continue signing peace pacts when people are dying. You can't continue signing peace pacts when the government in power is actually telling you that I will use every means available to me to win the election. You cannot continue like that. At some point, you are best saying that then all of you should sit and ensure that the laws are working. It is not about NDC. It's not about FTC. The referees around this election have to do with, 1, the media, 2, the Electoral Commission, 3, the security agencies. What role are they going to play? When you have media houses projecting motivated and cooked figures, they are the source of insecurity. When you have security institutions allowing hooligans to wear their uniform and perpetrate electoral fraud, they are the ones that are bringing insecurity. Okay?
Mustafa, just a quick one, right? This is a wide swathe of allegations you are making. You are bringing in the fourth estate.
They are not allegations.
Hold for me. You are bringing in
2020,
Mustafa,
media houses,
please.
Check wrong figure.
Mustafa, please. Let me. You can come in with your response. You are suggesting, you are roping in the fourth estate, you are roping in the ruling administration, so the executive. We've spoken about the police service still under the executive, and I'm sure you will go to the courts. This is a wide swathe of allegations that you are making, some of which, yes, we have seen, are founded. The media, for example, if any media house comes through with some figures, you can deal with them individually rather than whitewash all the media. So my question then is, what will it take? What does the NDC need to see before you can be satisfied and then put pen to paper on that peace declaration? Because then the way you are sounding makes me believe that no matter what is done, you will not sign this declaration. Is that the fact of the matter?
I would have been more convinced if subsequent upon Brian Champon's comment, I have seen National Peace Council clearly speak against it, because that utterances were badly uttered and they were not good for the moment we find ourselves. And so we have to define state rules. Let's have stakeholder engagement of all the actors of the election. Let's define straight rules. What is the role of the media in the election? Why should the media house be projecting results ahead of Electoral Commission? Would that in any form or shape minus or add to the peace security? What would the police do? What would the military do? So that when you sit there and you see a police officer doing what is wrong, you can call on the attention of somebody to take an action. How would the Electoral Commission conduct itself? We have 7 or 9 days to a voter exhibition. Political parties do not have provisional register. Is it not chaotic enough? The last time EC came to present data on the registration we did, they were full of errors. They promised going to correct
All right,
them.
Mustafa, we do have the chairman of the Peace Council here, Reverend Asiedu Nketia. How do you respond to some of these allegations and assertions that Mustafa Gbande is making?
Thank you very much. I think that in all this discourse, we must be able to understand that the stories that are being told should be a continuum. Sometimes we pick stories here and there, and so it looks like nothing is being done. The challenge we are seeing now, which is to us is very dangerous, is that there's an attack first on the EC, which they have had their problems and all, but you see that thing happening. There's an attack on the police. If something happens, they will come in. There's an attack on the judiciary, and then there's an attack on the Peace Council. So where are we going as a country? In our meeting 2 days ago, the role of the military was clearly spelled out. The police are in charge of the elections, and therefore the military is only there for backup. If there's something happens and the police think they need their help, they will call them. Now, sometimes these questions are asked, what is the Peace Council saying? What is the Peace Council saying? When you are in a meeting with top-level people in NPP and NDC in one room, and something comes up, their members cannot defend it. Another person comes out and says, what is the Peace Council saying? We were sitting there in the room with them. What are they expecting us to say again? We have our representative in IPAC. He sits there in all their meetings. We know all the things that are going on. And yet they will go and say something else and say, what is the Peace Council saying? We won't talk. You know the facts. You see, the work of the Peace Council is not tried in the media. You are doing negotiation, you have trust of people, you meet them at secluded places, you negotiate with them. Ours is to build sustainable peace. It's not a fire service where you kill the fire and leave. We are building sustainable. You reason with people to understand that what you are doing is not right. And therefore, let us do it this way so that we can get away, we will not run into these problems again. So the role of the military has been clearly explained. We sat there, we listened to them, and we got it clear. Number two, what are we doing? We have already set up the National Election Response Group, which has been meeting the last 4 months. We meet every month, including key institutions in this country, monitoring all that is going on consistently. And the last meeting was held last week. So it's not that the Peace Council is asleep and that nothing is happening. These are things that are happening, and we need to be mindful of some of these things. And especially when you have all these meetings. We've met the leadership of NDC. When Brian Champon first made a statement, we called him. He explained. Fifi was with us in one meeting. We clarified those things. And yet you see other members of the party still referring to that same thing, which we have cleared.
But Reverend Edu Jemfi, this bit about, and they can go burn the sea, will win the election by hook or crook. With the new addition now, we have pastors, imams, those practicing traditional African religion. That's the novelty. If I am not mistaken, this is about the third time, as I've been told, that Brian Champon is speaking the same rhetoric 3 times. What then does that mean? It appears there are inefficiencies somewhere. Mustafa Gbande alleges bias. He says you are reneging on your roles. How do you respond to that in that specific context? Is that to say your hands are tied and there's not much more you can do?
No. If you listen to both of us, Brian says something, Mustafa says something. Ask Mustafa whether we've called him. Ours is not just to follow the sensation. We listen carefully to what has been said. And sometimes when people call us asking for our comment, we don't just react. First, we must get the whole conversation, the context within which it was stated, and the reason behind it. Sometimes we send the information to Media Foundation for West Africa. They send it to fact check to clarify exactly what was said before we come out to say anything. Now, if you listen to the latest Brian Champon statement, I won't link it to the previous one, just the latest one. When he talks about we have pastors, we have imams, and we have this, what does that mean? Pastors pray, imams pray, traditionalists pour libation to pray. Maybe the man has decided now to go spiritual instead of campaigning.
Reverend Edu Jemfi, I beg to differ on a point. He starts, that's why I said it's an add-on this time. All through, he has come across and whatever it takes, and we are never going to cede to them. And in the latest instance, they can go burn the sea. I think if you put all of those, this is the first time he's talking about pastors, imams. Maybe it was an afterthought to water down the situation. But I don't think it is right for us to use that as a sort of justification for some of those comments, which is how you are sounding.
That's why I initially said that put what he has said in the past, because we have spoken to him in the past. You see, so for us, when we have dealt with an issue, it's cleared. So the man is sending something again. We are listening to him carefully. What is he saying now? If he crosses a certain red line, we'll call him. That is the way we have operated. You know, so when we clear one case, it's cleared. We don't go back and string them together and say this one and that one. It keeps us running around. That is why I said that sometimes when we have had these meetings and we have the parties together with us and these things are cleared, we know we have cleared it because their representatives were there. We have also formed what we call the Election Code of Conduct Monitoring Committee. They are meeting even today.
Right.
The NDC is represented, the NPP is represented, several other institutions are represented to monitor what they say and how they say it and what it means.
Reverend.
So all these things have been set up for them. And we expect that these things should be allowed to operate so that we deal with issues fairly.
Reverend Asiedu Nketia is Chairman of the Peace Council. Thank you so much for joining us and helping put this issue in perspective. Mustafa Gbande, you have the final word, and then we have to go.
Well, I think that basically what the Reverend have spoken about, I could understand that he is not clearly abreast with what crystallizes an action into insecurity or a criminality. Otherwise, you have to put people's conduct in perspective, and you have to sum it up. When people continuously threaten, people continue to make commentaries that undermine our peace and security. You cannot sit in the lobby and negotiate that. You have to come clearly, condemn same, and ask institutions
but
of
Mustafa,
state
he's
to take
saying it's a
responsibility.
process. First try,
Well,
speak to the person. Second time, find another strategy.
Are an upfront to what we know.
Right.
If his processes are upfront to what we know, he cannot be able to deal with the matter. He must situate his processes within the context of what we know. That if you go and make a statement and Mustafa goes to say something that undermines our peace, immediately the peace council's role should be that the police should be able to pick up Mustafa for further interrogation. If we go by what he's saying, by the time peace councils finish their processes, there will be chaos in this country. They would have ceased to be a peace council institution. And that's not the way to go. That is wrong.
Thank you, Mustafa Gbande.
That is wrong.
Right.
And I also think that given what I've just said now, the peace council should fortify itself with people who understand peace and security proper, that can understand the elements that threaten our democracy, the elements that threaten our peace, and the elements that can cause chaos. In that way, we can be thinking from the same room.
I don't know whether we've lost Mr. Ahin. Maybe he's not still with us.
No, I think he's gone.
Okay. So,
right.
But this has been interesting. I do feel, though, that even as we talk about peace, we must be more forceful. We can't sit down and expect peace to happen. It doesn't just happen. We must fight for it. And I don't like the rhetoric of both political parties, especially ahead of. This is a crucial, every election is crucial that we've had in this Fourth Republic. But the sort of language, conversation, and very intemperate language that I have heard. I mean, I just pray for Ghana because I keep saying that some of these people who pass these comments, make these utterances, God forbid, if anything happens, they'll be the first to leave. And it will be others who will be down, struggling, suffering. So let's not support this kind of rhetoric.
But you can join the conversation. Have your say. The phone lines are on your screen, 030-2211-691. They say if you want peace, prepare for war. But how are we preparing for this peace? Call us and share your thoughts with us. But while you do, get ready for the Pastors Kids Conference 2024, the Legacy Edition. Are you a pastor's child, or a preacher, or a Christian minister's child? You are not alone. Join other pastors' kids from all denominations for the Pastors Kids Conference 2024 under the theme Legacy. The host, of course, is Apostle Francis Ajinasare, and this is coming off on the 24th of August 2024 at the Perez Dome, Jowulu Junction here in Accra. It starts at 9 a.m. prompt, and there will be song ministrations by Kofi Owusu-Pepra, Enyonyam, Mrs. Ella Ajinasare, PKC Choir, and others, and it is absolutely free. It would be an exciting time for networking, music, learning, and empowerment, so you don't want to miss it. You can call for registration and further inquiries on 055-006-8632. Remember, it's absolutely free. This is the Pastors Kids Conference 2024, the Legacy Edition. See you soon. Benjamin.
Well, 0302-211-691 is the number to call. 0302-211-691. Call, let us know what you think. Don't call and do politics. Call and talk Ghana, because that is the end of it. If we can pretend there's no MPP, there's no NDC, it is Ghana in there, and we must fight tooth and nail to protect Ghana. All of us here and those to come in the future. But I think we have a caller on the line, Abdul Rahman from Abdul, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so when you call, please go straight to the point. Don't watch us on your TV set. Listen to us on the phone. Abdul, go ahead.
Yes, this is Hood from Wa. I am happy this morning and the way you address issues about Ghana. I am happy about that. It is good for us, the politicians, to do something about what is happening in Ghana. It is good. The way you say that problem when it's coming, it is going to affect those people who doesn't have money to travel. But those people are making noise about security issues. It can affect those who are poor. And we are pleading on them, NDC people, to go on agreement to sign the thing, and anything that they want or what they are saying it is a problem, they go agreement with Peace Council and they inform the political parties and we pick it there. That one will be help us to move Ghana forward. That is what I also have this morning for you people. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having your say. But while we wait for our next caller, if you are stressed out about your cleaning needs, worry no more. Because Dance World Services is your one-stop shop that meets all your commercial and residential cleaning needs. I'm talking about from pest control, janitorial and house cleaning, event cleaning, waste management, even carpets and sofa. And whether at home or at work, we understand and know how haptic cleaning can be coupled with your busy lifestyle. And so we've got great news for you. Dance World Environmental and Facility Management Services has got you covered. And we excel in whatever we do, leaving you beyond expectation. Locate us at Excel House, opposite Regimanal Estate at Nungwa Barrier, or simply call 0302-905-538 or 0555-752361. Dance World Services, beyond expectations. Remember, though, that Ghana wins. Ghana is the prize. I think it was just so beautifully said by Madam Carlina Adi. Ghana wins. In the middle of all this, it is the country, the people whose lives should be put ahead of everything else. Musa is on the line with us. Musa, how are you?
I'm doing good. And
good.
You?
So I'm good. Don't listen to us on your TV set. Go straight to the point. What's on your mind?
Okay, yeah, I will not listen. I'm just listening to you. But yes. The issue is that... hello, can you hear me?
Yes, have your say. Go ahead.
If you listen, if you continue listening on your TV set, you'll get distracted. Listen on the phone alone.
Because when you look at what is happening in Ghana, my dear, we can never have peace in this country. Because if you look at the precedents that happened, both the NDC and AP at this current time that we are sitting in a time bomb. Why do I say so? Now everyone is trying to, NDC is trying to come and say they are coming to save Ghana, and NDP too is also fighting to become the next president again. We all know what is happening. We hear certain things, even we have people who are in NPP who are not even happy with what is happening in Ghana now. And also to NDC, the thing is that they are also seeing what is happening now. If they come to power, would they be able to stand and change most of these things that is happening in this country now? And now we have to stand as a unified nation and fight for our peace and fight for the justice. We will not, now, NDC is not trying to sign the peace pact just because our same peace council who are claiming to sign the peace pact, they are so corrupt and they are not standing for the peace.
All right, thank you so much, Musa. Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. And if you need a break from the south and the heat in this place, there's an invitation for you to escape to the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel. That is Japa Dubai. You've seen the rest, now it's time for you to see the best. So take a break from work and take a break from the south. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Japa Dubai, is the best place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. It is away from the stress of the south, and what awaits you? One unforgettable safari experience. Amazing array of wildlife, including lions, hippopotamuses, zebras, ostriches, among others, using our well-secured game tour vehicles and quad bikes. There is water sports, such as jet skiing, boat and canoe rides. Also, various family games to keep you and your families excited all day long, as well as great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, like the Mushroom Rock and Slave Caves. So, escape from the south, escape to the north, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel for an unforgettable safari experience. Simply call them on 050-169-4280 or 024-88-444-63 for reservations and further inquiries. Benjamin Akapo.
I see where this conversation is going from what people are calling and saying. And you can still call in, of course, 0302-211-691. I don't know whether those in power, those in authority will do what is needed, but I pray so.
Let's see what Mohammed from Nima has to say. Mohammed, join the conversation. And please don't listen to yourself on the TV set. Just speak to me directly. What's up?
Hello, my name is Abdurrahim Mohammed.
All right, go ahead, Abdul.
Please, what I have to say is that, see, Ghanaians, at times, when you are proper Ghanaian, proper serious Ghanaian, you feel sad. To be honest with you. See, what Brother Chamo said, and people are joking with it, is very, 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 very serious. Because when somebody say that we are going to do all that we can do to win the election, whether they like it or not, they should go, how they go, on Kwashipo. If you are a tree, when somebody go Kwashipo, it's a serious matter. But what I have to advise the Peace Council, please, they have to put their foot on the ground and make sure when everybody commits a crime, they should deal with him or whatever they can say. They have to come out. When you see, you advise the secretary of the NBC say that they should come to the media. At times, you have to come to the media so the media people can hear what is going on. You can't just go advise or talk to the political parties and say that, okay, we are giving them 108 people die. The whole Ghana, everybody is aware. 8 people have died. Nothing have said about it. 8 years now, we say you meet the political parties and it's okay. The people have built the conscious mind. You see, the mind of people. When people that starting building their mind that, okay, I've been cheated. When I've been doing that, they will cheat me. There's nothing.
Abdul.
Nothing you tell them to agree.
Abdul, thank you so much for
Ghana
joining.
is for all of us. We should try and protect our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Remember that power lies within us, the people, right? Benjamin, this is our show.
Well, this has been what we've had for you today on the AM show, but